You are listening to a Dynamicworksproductions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K.A. Trotter. Joining me, as always, is the one, the only, the drinking a Starbucks coffeeist of Nate Foos. Nate Foo.
Well, hello there. Yes, it's a coffee night so far. I do have other libations on tap for later, but
you'll do beer and coffee? Or was that a rum and coke?
No, that was a beer.
Okay. So beer and coffee, huh?
Well, coffee, and a little time.
Hawaiians would love you.
Yes. Well,
they have lots of coffee beer.
Considering I was born there, yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was. We've had this discussion.
Why?
We've had this discussion. I know I have because...
either I'm getting older or you're becoming less interesting to the degree where now I'm interested again and relearning about you in a new unit of time.
Okay, I will say this for the last time, and you will go, oh yeah, we have talked about this. I was born in Obama Hospital. I'm the reason that I know his birth certificate was real because mine looks just like his.
I feel like you've said that before, but I don't remember.
I have.
Maybe you have. Well... This is another episode of Working Your Ear podcast, where once again I am extremely tired, but for completely different fucking reasons this time.
As you're bagging on me for drinking coffee, I am also extremely tired. That's how I was like, I don't know if I can go straight into this and then open a beer and make it through a whole episode. So figured I'd grab me a little caffeine and.
Well, let's spin the ring and get to wherever we're going in this episode.
Oh, we're going.
And we have landed, believe it or not, straight onto video games.
Oh, good.
A rarity in our show, I feel. Like if
actually
somebody ran the statistics.
Yeah.
It's happened a couple of times, but yeah. I feel like it's a rarity overall. Like if somebody would run the stats, how many times we land on video games first.
Right. It tends to be
it's
the thing
probably
we run out
on the low end. Yeah. So let's see. Where did I?
Yeah. Where's your clever line break?
That I should have been doing the whole fucking time we've been doing this fucking show.
There we go. No Man's Sky update, and then
there we go.
Sonic takes over IHOP.
Yeah, Orbital. Pretty sure I talked about it last podcast. Man's Sky Orbital. Did I not talk about it? Pretty sure I did. I feel like I did.
Oh, Orbital.
We're gonna say I did.
Yeah. You didn't talk about it because it's after the next episode of Fork line.
But I did talk about it because before that it says No Man's Sky Orbital.
Well, is it? It's officially out, I'm assuming.
It was supposed to have come out on Switch and Xbox day and date with PS5 and PC, and it didn't. And it was delayed a whole ass week. by both Nintendo and Microsoft's cert board.
Okay.
And Hello Games had not anticipated that, as, they've only launched 100,000 bazillion updates, and they're like, oh, whoops, our bad.
Right. So. Why should this one suddenly be a problem?
Exactly. Yeah, so it's out on all platforms. It's good for what I've played. That's all I've got.
Okay. I mean, No Man's Sky doing No Man's Sky things.
Yeah. And I think Sean Murray was saying something on Twitter that this would not be their big update for the year, even though it was pretty large, as is. And it's like, you guys, at some point, it is okay to charge us for expansion.
Right? Or just
I am more than
settle down a
willing.
little bit.
At this point, I feel like they really should just do dollar expansions at this point.
Something. Right.
My God, guys, I want to know your financials, and I want to know you guys are okay. I'm pretty sure they are, but
yeah, and I mean, there's probably enough people like you that have been like, you know what, you should be charging for this. I'll toss a couple bucks your way.
Yeah, there's no fucking option to do that except for buying each version of No Man's Sky that comes out.
Right.
Which so far they've got me for everyone except PC. Oh, and I haven't bought the Mac version.
No particular reason, or it's just why would I buy it other than just to throw money at them?
Why I wouldn't play it on my Mac. If I had a laptop again, that would be appealing. Or if I had an M series capable iPad, I would grab it again.
Sure.
Because that performance would be far superior to the Switch. But I have the Switch version, so that's my mobile version as is. And they keep saying an iPhone version is eventually going to come, and I'm like, well, at this point, we've got fucking Death Stranding running on the iPhone, so I feel like you guys can do it.
Right.
You guys can do it, for sure. And so I would definitely get that version. But I guess the other counterpoint, too, is if I did get the PC version, I wouldn't get the Microsoft Game Store version, I'd get the Steam version. So then I'd have the PC Mac client.
Right. Gotcha.
But then again, the catch-22 of that would be, well, it wouldn't be the Windows version, so it wouldn't have my Xbox saves. So it would be once again a new journey, which I could definitely boost myself up. I've done it thrice already. But it's okay, well, I don't know. At that point, whatever. So it goes. I
keep waiting to find a reason to jump back in that, because the last time I did, it was just I ended up just going on a stroll.
Oh, well, it is the most
walking simulator.
The most walking sim you could possibly get.
Yeah. And I wasn't
sure.
I wasn't disappointed by it, but I was just the same problem I have with playing Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Which year did you play it? Which year did you play it?
Here?
Which year?
Earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
So I fire it up every now and then, and it's okay, it's still beautiful, it still runs great, and what I was about to say is when I get into
you're firing it up on PC. Yeah. It's looked gorgeous on PC for a while now.
Yeah. But I'll fire up Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then I'll look and go, where'd the sun go? Oh, I've been sitting here for 5 hours.
Sure, fair enough.
And really, I haven't accomplished much.
Yeah, it happens.
So
it happens. That's happened a lot to me this week between AFK and Honkai Star Rail. Those are definitely my top go-to mobile experiences.
Yeah, AFK has been taking up a decent chunk of my time. By not taking up a decent chunk of my time, it's been kind of nice.
Yeah, it is very generous with its time management. I keep saying this as I get an older gamer, and I've been saying this since Black Desert Mobile and the Xenoblade Chronicles games, where these are games that are full-fledged game experiences, but if I don't have the time to engage, I can still engage with it.
Right.
And it be respectful of my time.
Yep. And that's a problem I have with a lot of games. Even, as much as I was enjoying Honkai Star Rail, I'm like, I don't have the sit down.
And it's my number one feature request. Like the simulated universe, which is where you're basically just going between things and fighting random enemies in a procedurally generated.
Right.
It's not even a dungeon. It's just like straightforward. Like go through here, go through a door, go through another thing, go fight another thing, fight another thing. Occasionally there'll be a thing to like make a multiple choice thing. And it'd be like, I don't need to spend a minute 30 to push forward every time. There's like 18 of these, and then for the weekly, it demands like, I don't know, 100 of them or something like that.
Right.
To get the weekly
be streamline this a little bit.
Bounce for that. And I request it every time because I've been on the Insiders thing for a long time for Honkai. And I'm like, can we please, like we already have auto battle. Can we please get auto move to next quest destination?
Right.
Please.
Yeah.
And I even offered the same thing as, or communicated the same thing to them as in Black Desert Mobile, where it's like, okay, you can't auto to things until you've at least done it once.
Sure.
And then anytime we tell you to go back here or whatever, you can do that or whatever. And it's like, just do that. Just do that. Like,
And that's something that AFK does really like. We're jumping.
AFK does that out of the gate.
Thank you
very much.
Yeah.
It still requires a couple button presses, but at least it does it.
Right. You tap on upper right hand corner. It's pretty, I don't know, intuitive. There's some stuff that isn't quite intuitive.
Yeah, there's some stuff like collecting some things, especially when like the daily is like a grab all button. And it's like, well, can we just have that for all the things, please?
Right. Yeah, it's on certain pages, not on other pages.
Yeah, it's very arbitrary.
Yeah.
As to which it does. Now, obviously, in our Discord, way back on the 2nd, you're a substantial level higher than me on the AFK level, which is crazy to me.
I have to say something just right off the bat. Anyone that plays this game, if you look at the logo, I can't unsee it. Now, I'm going to make sure you don't unsee it. But the way they designed the logo, it's a fucking jersey, a fucking journey. Because of the way they put the little guy and his cape and the little tower next to him, it's AFKN journey. It's a fucking journey.
I mean, I see it, but I feel it's kind of a stretch.
No, I can't unsee it now. And I think it's appropriate because it is a fucking journey.
Fair enough. So I don't know about you, but I found myself completely tuning the fuck out of the story and hitting skip.
Sure.
At every fucking possible juncture.
I did that on a few of the side quests because it's like I just kind of fast read, skimmed them, and then a couple other times I just hit the autoplay button, which again, thank you for putting that in.
Too.
I love that feature.
I mean, that's in Honkai too. The autoplay button.
But does it stay on once you click it once?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because that's something I've seen in like...
It only stops until it's like you have a dialogue choice.
And this one doesn't.
Which is the same,
but AFK doesn't.
Well, AFK is also designed around the classic RPG trope of your character not answering, if you've noticed. And that's what it defaults to when you hit play.
Right. Oh, no, mine's been snarky. I think it's learned that I played the
really?
snark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think my problem with the story is I don't think I have any problem with the voice actors. I have a little bit of problem with the audio quality of the voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
It's either a little compressed or a little amateurish, one of the two. I actually saw a post of this actually an hour ago on Reddit that I think said it best, which is they probably didn't have an audio like, oh,
You there?
what just happened?
Everything went blank and then came back.
Same for me. Everything's still rolling on my end.
Mm-hmm. Same on mine. You're a little bit
And
garbagey on my end.
okay.
Do we need to speed test?
Fuck. This did happen to us last time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my fault. I'll speed test now, yeah. Hey, for freaking
I'm not downloading any updates at the moment. Yeah, I'm 800 plus.
It's fine. It's not rainy here. It's not windy here.
It is rainy here.
I don't have any. Oh,
I'm
surprising.
940, 950 up. And 4 ping.
Finishes the test here. Yeah, I'm 20 up. I'm 294 down.
Okay.
Everything's copacetic over here.
Might have just been a
maybe it was a hiccup.
Yeah.
Hiccup. Yeah. Or an eclipse of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything's copacetic over here, running a cool 110 degrees. CPU's barely breaking a sweat at 28% use.
A video card is still nice, cool blue.
Is it supposed to be blue?
Yes. I will credit. I will credit my video card manufacturer has a utility that has I can set certain ranges and it will change the LEDs on the card.
Oh, solid.
So yeah, so it goes from blue to white to yellow to red. So I can just kind of look down and go, oh, that's red, and I'm not running anything. Is going on.
Fair
but
enough.
Yeah, no, it's as blue should be.
Okay.
AFK Journey. So I'm quite a bit ahead of you, and you were saying,
are we friends on it yet?
No, because
I became friends with Daniel.
Yeah, they just enabled that update.
I didn't know I was friends with him because there's no indication on the player. And I'm like, I don't know which one of these you are. And I sent him a bunch of screenshots, and I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never been able. I didn't know your in-game name, and you never sent me your user ID.
Okay, well, I'll fucking send it to you now. Jesus Christ, Dean. So yeah.
But yeah, they just recently in an update allowed cross-server cooperation and friending.
Huge mistake they didn't have that from the get-go.
Yeah.
Given how feature complete the game is,
I kind of understand.
Why?
Well, I kind of understand why, because there's assets I was sitting next to my brother-in-law today, and he was playing, and there's a Primal Lord on his server that my server has almost wiped out.
Okay.
So I
haven't gotten to those yet.
Yeah. So there's a huge difference in the progressions of the server. So if I were to take my character over and just walk into his server, I could just mollywop things. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just kind of a balance issue more than anything else.
Things. I don't know if it's the right things or not.
Where did you send them? Oh, Discord.
DM Discord. I do enjoy AFK Journey. I think the music's good. The art's fantastic.
Yeah, the voiceover
could be better.
It could be better. To the point where I think a lot of people were actually speculating that it was AI generated, and I can understand where they say that. My
understanding is it's not.
Right. It is not. It's been confirmed that it's not. But I get what they're talking about. It comes off a little flat at times.
I think here's the difference. So I did some digging about the two developers of the game. So this is another Chinese game from Shanghai, actually. And their studio's only a couple billion in terms of their market worth. And I read another article recently that Honkai Star Rail's parent company, Hoyoverse, just crossed 200 billion.
Oh, nice.
And I think the difference may be just as simple as Hoyoverse at this point has offices on almost every continent, including localization teams.
Yes.
And the money to back it up. And this studio does not. I think is the difference.
Sure. And I've had some bugs where localization didn't happen at all. Mid-conversation. Like I was going through a dialogue tree and the next thing I know, it's a whole nother language.
Don't you mean a whole nother fucking language?
Yes.
AFK?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
A fucking different language.
It's also not easy to get to the goddamn friends list in the game.
Sure.
I don't like where it's at.
The hamburger and then friends. It's literally right there. Lower right-hand corner, friends.
Well, I don't like that settings are up on the fucking player profile thing. Then how about that?
Hamburger,
so which
and then
fucking
settings.
name are you in this shit?
I should be in your friends request.
Oh, you actually say Natefu on yours.
Yes. I was wondering why you didn't have a name.
How are you able to do that? I can't do that. Oh wait,
yours just says Wander.
I just figured it out.
Yeah.
I just figured it out.
Yeah, player name. The whole thing that says player name. Yes.
Oh, I can't do spaces. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. First change name is free, but next time it'll cost you money.
And the next time you can actually use spaces, apparently. It cost me 500 diamonds to do so.
For spaces?
For a space.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, apparently that was probably a bug.
Live days. Anyways, I'm now Yokiri on AFK.
Okay, goody.
It's like my go-to name for fantasy shit.
Yep, I see the change. Neat aspirant.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, I'm Brutal Butler.
So yeah, AFK. We've talked enough about that. I'm going to talk about my Honkai Star Rail love.
Also, thank you. You gave me an achievement. You are my 10th friend.
Solid. I think you're like my 18th. Because I accepted a bunch of fucking freebie people, and there's some random clan I joined, and
you're in a guild? Nice.
Etc. I think it's my third one. I've been removed from a couple for inactivity, which I don't know how, but sure, whatever.
Yeah. There's a reason
Honkai Star Rail.
I haven't joined any. Breathless Bob daily sends me an invite.
Solid. Honkai Star Rail. They are on their part 2 of their major expansion. I'm enjoying the absolute shit out of this expansion. It is top tier. I've said before, and I'll say it again. You know, the tutorial zone is cool. The first main story world in Honkai Star Rail is amazing. A tier, worthy of any JRPG. 60 hours. Second world was cool looking, but I didn't engage with the story very much at all. And this world's story is just so fucking cool. And then in between the story bits, the gameplay is really cool too, because you're like navigating these like dreamscapes, and so you're like collecting like dream tokens and then like using that to like put like dream glue on a wall to then walk on it and change perspective of the whole environment. So navigating through the environment is a puzzle in a really cool topsy-turvy sort of way, and I just love that shit in video games an fan, because right? Like, yeah.
So there you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. Not only am I an Escher fan, I like the Escher games. We're talking Echo Chrome. We're talking Monument Valley. We're talking What's that game called?
Honkai Star Rail.
Honkai Star Rail now. Well, and they even have, not only do they have those puzzles in the environment, but then they have some actual, like, MC Escher, like, 2D puzzles, where you're, like, in a different thing, and then you have a mirror, and you have to, like, use a mirror to, like, change stuff with geometry to get, like, a weird sentient clock thing to the other side of the map or something.
Okay, that almost sounds very Portal-esque, but...
It's not, but it's very, like, perspective / things you could only do in a video game kind of thing. Like, I love that kind of shit. And it's just so cool, and the whole storyline about this, you're in this weird Inception dreamscape that's built in a hotel that's built on an old prison that has, like,
riding
dark
the back
secrets
of a space camel.
And, well, not quite, or at least not that I'm aware of yet. I don't know. I haven't uncovered all of its dark secrets.
If that happens, I'll laugh.
But they even have, like, cool new stuff with, like, the enemies now. So, like, there's boss enemies that can, like, quote unquote instant kill your dude, but not really. Like, they basically they like fall asleep and turn into, like, a crystal that you then have to break, and it, like, goes to the enemy side of the field, and you have to break them to get them back. And it creates this interesting dynamic with just, like, regular combat too.
Okay.
And I love that the music is this cool, like, bebop, jazzy vibe thing going on with it. It's just hitting all of the right notes for me, and I find myself spending,
I will say,
several hours.
As a whole, the industry has gotten much, much better with game soundtracks.
Well, sure, and even before this game, Genshin Impact is known for having a absolutely stellar orchestral soundtrack that is beautiful to listen to, and arguably more fun to listen to than playing the game. I said it. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm just a big fan. They had a big new OP character just came out that I was just able to get for free with a little bit of grinding, so that was cool. And she dropped as a 5-star tier, so highest tier, and I was like, oh, nice.
May your RNG be good to you.
Yeah, especially on these games, on these gacha games.
They must have known you were in the in the beta, the back end, and they're like, I'll make sure this guy gets one so he can tell everyone.
No, I doubt it, because there's been many ones that I've missed, and there's been many that I really, really want. Like, there's a character called Rune Mei, because I guess she's the best buffer in the game.
Well, maybe you should start streaming it, because everyone knows streamer perks are real.
I don't play it. I do play it on my PlayStation 5, but I'm usually on my phone, bathroom break, or lying in bed trying to go to sleep, or in the past couple of weeks, when there's lulls on my night job, getting in a few there, sort of thing. And it's just really good to go to. Or if we're watching a show that I'm not particularly into, but my wife's into, but it's a together show, I'll have my phone up, but I'll Bluetooth my Switch controller to it and be playing through it to complete objectives and that sort of thing. And so I just find myself playing it like a shitload. And I just love so many aspects about the game. And it's funny because I am going through my Final Fantasy Remake replay, which I did complete this week. Finally, I'm super, super fucking far behind. And it's definitely rekindled, in my gaming history. I have played a lot of JRPGs, and Honkai Star and Honkai. I don't know about if it's kind of my thing, but it's definitely one of my top 5 things, I think. in games. Like, it is definitely something that I'm like, when I start thinking about my library and games that I've like finished, like I have like obscure ones too. And I got to talking the other day to one of my my PSN boys, you know, and he was talking to me about Legendary Dragoon, which is a very old PS1 JRPG that I never, ironically, got to play, but I got to watch a friend play because it was one of those kind of things. And we were talking about it on PlayStation one time, and then he's like, I think it's on PlayStation. And I looked it up, and I have the PlayStation Premium Essentials Plus, whatever the fuck it's called. Right. It has 3 fucking names because it's dumb. Excuse me. And it was downloadable, and I downloaded it, and I checked out the first like hour of it because I'd never been able to do that. And sure, it's just an emulated version of the game, but it's interesting to look at that stuff in sort of a historical context. Yeah, I don't know. I just love me some honky Star Rail, and the Goofy and serious characters. The overall story is really good.
Yep.
And I think the thing too, you know, when this article came out, I can't remember if it was a Forbes or CNET or something, that MiHoYo is a $200 billion fucking company.
MiHoYo, yeah.
MiHoYo.
MiHoYo.
Or sorry, no, it's HoYoverse.
Yes.
MiHoYo is the sub-developer
for Genshin.
Right. Even though HoYoverse Limited is the developer for Honkai Star Rail in Japan, but all the other studios around the planet does certain things for the rest of the game.
They are part of the HoYoverse.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still waiting for their next game that keeps fucking having these closed fucking tests. And I'm just like, I keep applying and I can't get in. Their next game, Zenless Zone Zero.
Oh, that sounds like a JRPG.
I know, right? Except it's not. This one's like a real-time action, semi-open world thing with this kind of like, it's not steampunk, but like industrial punk vibe to it.
Okay.
I don't know exactly because I've seen snippets of gameplay here and there, but not enough to really be like, oh, it's this type of game. I'm not sure if it's
so not Atomic Hearts kind of steampunk.
No.
Okay.
Because I would call Atomic Heart steampunk. Zenless Zone Zero, like I said, it's like an industrial, like a 90s industrial punk kind of rock looking thing.
9 Inch Nails.
You know, like people with like big headphones and baggy pants, but then robots and shipping containers and some kind of I don't know exactly because you know, none of their fucking story trailers tell me shit about the game. At least Honky Star Rail, it's like, oh, there's a space train.
I mean, it's kind of part of the name.
But actually, even going back to when I remember the reveal trailer for Honkai Star Rail, and I was like, oh, it's from the Genshin people. Oh, this is sci-fi. Like, that's up my alley. What type of game is it? I don't know, because they don't show that shit, which is odd. But whatever it is, I'm sure it will be good, because the one thing that this group of devs / company does is they do quality out the ass.
Right.
And like I said, I can't remember if it was the Forbes or the CNN article or whichever it was, where they were talking about this being now a $200 billion company. And then they're like, well, they only do free to play. And everybody talks about their quality. And there might be something to that, because how else did they get that big?
Right.
If they were not delivering a terrific product.
Yeah. And again, while it is a gacha, and we'll say this, you know, since I'm not playing that, but even with AFK, they're not throwing the buy now at you. It's definitely there.
I've hit it a lot.
In Honkai or AFK?
In AFK.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, I've hit it a lot, actually, in AFK. It's not like fuck you buy now, but I have hit a lot of buy now stuff.
Sure, okay. Yeah, they definitely...
Like, I've
early
reached certain
on,
upgrades.
they kind of trickle it out,
weapons.
like, you could buy this, and then you could buy this.
Sure.
And look at all the stuff you would get if you bought this.
It's not quite War Tortoise 2 levels of obnoxious.
Right.
But I feel like it might get there.
But yeah, I mean, even with Honkai, with Genshin, it's like, yeah, you could spend your entire paycheck on it. But you don't.
Oh, sure.
You don't have to.
Absolutely.
And they're not really, like, they'll do the same thing like AFK does. It's like, look over here. You could do this. And then you go, nah. And I go, okay.
Well, and I've probably dropped about $150 in Honkai Star Rail.
Sure.
Since it's released. And I've found the most bang for my buck, at least for me, who does play it regularly, and their seasons are like 3 months long or something ridiculous like that. Like doing their battle pass for $9.99 gets me the most value. And generally, if I play, like, I'll have enough to get whichever new character or new thing that's being offered.
Right.
But anyway, moving on from that to something I absolutely hate, but I promised my wife I'd talk about because she fucking loves the toxic hellhole that is the IHOP restaurants or International House of fucking Pancakes.
Yeah. I remember when that restaurant used to actually be like Denny's level.
Have we talked about why I hate IHOP?
No.
You haven't? Okay, cool. So when I was getting treated for all kinds of different things in the wrong way for all of my food allergies and stuff, I was on some medication that turned my hair white.
Nice.
And yeah.
I'm just on. I have the old. That's what's turning my hair white.
And there was an IHOP right off the freeway in Bellevue in Washington, on a route to the University of Washington that we stopped at like many times over the course of a month. And every single time I ended up projectile vomiting.
So, International House of Poison.
Yes, exactly. And I even went back there years later after I got off the drugs that were screwing me up and still vomited. And so I'm just like, fuck all IHOPs forever.
Sure.
Was my stance. And then actually, and this is probably on a fork somewhere many years ago, one of my Halloween crawls when I was either married to Jessica or she was my girlfriend. One of my Halloween crawls, we went to an IHOP, IHOPs that are supposed to be fucking open 24 hours, and they were like straight up closing. And like we asked them why, and they're like, well, nobody's here, so we're just closing. And I'm like, but we're here, and we will pay you money. And they're like, nah. And I was like, fuck IHOP. So we went to Denny.
Yeah.
So yeah, fuck IHOP. Also, so the reason we're talking about IHOP.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did this get from gaming to IHOP?
There is Sonic the... Yeah. There's Sonic the Hedgehog IHOP crossover collaboration thing, which doesn't really make sense since Sonic already crosses over with, or has in the past with like Denny's, and obviously they cross over with the Sonic's burger chain like a lot. But no, there's right now at IHOP you can get a Sonic's Blue Special, which is a double blueberry pancake with blueberry syrup. You can get a Knuckles chicken sandwich.
A knuckle sandwich.
Knuckles chicken sandwich. You can get
you like a knuckle sandwich? I don't want to go to IHOP, thanks.
You can get a Tails 2x2x2, which is 2 bacons, 2 eggs, and 2 pancakes. You can get a Dr. Eggman's Benedict, which is just...
I mean, the branding's on point. I'll give them that.
It is. You can get Amy's Sweet Strawberry Delight, which is strawberry waffles with chocolate syrup and I don't know, it looks like whipped cream on top. And then you can get Shadow's Chaos Chocolate Pancakes.
So this is all stuff that's been on their menu before. It's nothing new. They just
it's nothing new at all.
Yeah.
It's just it has a Sonic character and a name. And the only one that I could see even remotely being a little bit different is, at least in the picture, the Dr. Eggman's Benedict is arranged so the eyes are like Eggman's goggles, and then the hash browns are in his like fucking mustache thing, which makes total food fun nonsense.
Right. My kids love IHOP. They like going there all the time, and it's like I go there. I don't hate it, but I haven't been impressed by it in a while.
I would rather go to literally any other.
It's
America's
not International House of Poison to me.
Thing. Like, I would rather go to Denny's. I'd rather go to Shoney's. I'd rather go to Sherry's. I'd rather go to
Coco's.
Don't have those.
Yeah, we have
okay.
Coco's, Marie Callender's, Cables.
Oh, we used to have Marie Callender's. So okay. I only ever went there for like lunch and dinner. So
Norm's.
I guess it would make sense. I've heard of Norm's. Haven't been to Norm's. I guess we don't have that many up in Washington. Good old breakfast spots.
But I mean, I get it, and if it wasn't so syrupy, sweet, pancake based that my kids love their pancakes, we probably wouldn't go. We'd go to Denny's.
But also, when you order any of these dishes, you get, I don't know what this is. I assume this is their rewards program. You can get pan coins, which are redeemable for content for the Sonic Superstars video game that came out last fall to get an exclusive skin for Amy Rose. Or, if you have enough of them, apparently you can get complete download codes for Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Origins Plus, which is it's okay.
How many times do I have to be poisoned to?
I don't know. I assume it's a lot. I don't see anything in the particular article that I linked.
Yeah, it's never.
I assume it's a lot.
Yeah,
I assume it's a lot, especially for full game. Even though those games are, both. One of those is like 4 years old, and another's 2 years old. They're older Sonic games.
No, I know. Sure. I remember, whole Microsoft points. And it's like 1,000 Microsoft points redeem now for $1.
Okay. I'm just checking things because I keep hearing some weird things on my speakers, but we're probably fine. Everything's still rolling.
Okay.
I hope.
Do you have an old Nokia sitting on your desk and it's going...
No. The only old phones I have are... Actually, this is in my drawer right now. We have... Not a phone. I have a Zune. I have... the European Samsung Galaxy J4. Those are in the drawer. And I think I talked about this a show ago. I found my Talkboy Jr.
Oh, beautiful. Straight out of Home Alone.
Well, he had the cassette tape. This would be the micro one.
Well, didn't he use that in, 2?
Maybe? I don't know. Or maybe Macaulay Culkin was in the ads. I don't...
Maybe, yeah.
It could be. It very well could be. But anyway, IHOP sucks. Fuck them all. I hate IHOP. Oh God, what else do we have here? We got
ExoMiner got an update that still didn't fix anything for you.
It's still fucking shit for me. I did go back to playing it though a little bit.
Okay.
Not a lot because it just irks me that my fucking iPhone 13 Pro that can run Honkai Star Rail at max settings at 120 fucking frames a second. And this fucking piece of shit can't seem to get past 20 frames a second like it's an N64 game.
That's weird. I shared
2 updates now, and
I
I'm
shared
like,
some
what
gameplay on mine,
fuck?
and
Yeah, no, I saw yours. Yours is great. Yours is beautiful. And I'm just like, what did you break, dude, for iOS? Because it has been broken for a while now, and it irritates me. Like, it's totally playable. Don't get me wrong. This is not a game that needs frame rates. But when your little ships are like bloop, 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 instead of a nice smooth,
I don't even see my ships these days.
Yeah, I'm sure yours are too fast. You fuck.
They immediately go to a minimum of 100, like almost as soon as I upgrade stuff now. That's why I was so happy about the 10x.
Yeah. But speaking of stuff, last thing on AFK Journey, I found out I was not running the game to its fullest potential on my device.
You weren't on Superb?
I don't remember what it's called, but I wasn't on whatever the highest thing was, and I wasn't on
you had power saving turned on?
Yeah, I had power saving turned on, and then also upscaling was not turned on. And since this is an Unreal Engine 5 game, Unreal 5 has some pretty fucking good temporal upsampling built into the engine. And man, that, because like the game had always looked great to me, but it always had like a little bit of like not aliased at all in the slightest look, which actually doesn't bug me too much. No. But I was changing options. I think maybe when we were trying to figure out if we could be friends, and we couldn't figure it out. And then I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, oh, suddenly all of the characters look way the fuck crisper. And there's no penalty to heating up my phone or any of this other stuff. Why was I running this at a garbage setting?
Doesn't heat up your phone, huh? It doesn't heat mine up, but it does chew through battery pretty good.
It's a warm game, and it does chew through battery.
It's not Honkai Star Rail.
I can run Honkai Star Rail at max for like a good 3.5 hours, which is not a lot, mind you, but
I can run it for about an hour and a half, and then it just gets uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. One other thing that I wanted to talk about on video games, actually 2 other things. One was I wanted to address this weird thing that was being talked a lot about this week, because there was as I started burping a lot. Great. So Star Wars Outlaws has a release date of August 30th. The game looks phenomenal. I'm looking forward to it a lot, actually. But video gamers were crying a foul, and there's some misinformation here. I know this because I got into a fight with my coworker Brock about this. We were driving to work one day, and he was telling me that he was pissed and not going to pick up the game, and he's a huge mega Star Wars fan. And I was like, oh, why are you suddenly not going to pick up the game? And then he's like, well, because it fucking, it requires an always online connection, and that's fucking bullshit. And I was like, for a single player game? By Ubisoft. And I was like, they've done shenanigans before, but that one seems weird. And I was like, you're sure you're not talking about the PC version? And then, I was driving, and he was reading from some IGN article, I guess. And it seems like both my partner and pretty much the internet can't read, because the articles, and I read multiple, and you can look at a much more clear article on videogameschronicle.com, where basically it requires an online connection for the day 1 patch. And I'm like, so like every other fucking video game that has ever fucking come out, apart from a Nintendo game. Wow. Fucking shocker. Like, Ooh.
And you know what? To them, like to those people complaining, fine. Don't let them play it. Let them play a broken buggy game. It's single player. You want to play a subpar version of it? Fine.
I don't think it'll be buggy though, because this is being done by.
No, I mean don't give them the day one patch.
Oh, sure.
Let them get hacked. Let them whatever. Let the game break their computer.
Exactly. And by all of Ubisoft's past records, by all accounts, it probably will be broken on PC day one because they don't have a good track record on PC and never have, which is wild to me, but so it goes. But no, me and my wife were actually talking about this in the shower because then she was saying that's what she had been told too. And I said, well, people who are telling you this don't read properly.
You're allowed to be wrong.
This is not true.
Yeah.
And then, well, she wasn't like upset about it. She's like, oh, really? Is that the case? And I was like, yes, this is the case. I got into a fight about it. Probably talk about it on my show tonight. But the other thing that she was talking about was that the expensiveness of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what do you mean? Because that was something that wasn't covered in the trailer and stuff that I was reading about. And then she's like, well, a lot of people and fans, like, they're complaining about the price of the game. And so I'll look it up here so I have accurate pricing.
Was it your 70 to 100 kind of base version?
It's like every other fucking Ubisoft game, period. And so when you go to Star Wars Outlaws pre-order on Ubisoft.com, looking at it right fucking now,
$69.99, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's $69.99, but they're mad about the different editions. So you have your standard, your gold, and your ultimate edition.
$69.99, $109.99, $129.99.
Yep. And I'm like,
I'm not even looking at the page. That's industry standard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not even looking at the page?
No.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. See, and I'm just like, what are people's problems? And she was like, well, people are complaining that there's already like a season pass and like, how can you have a season pass for
Destiny?
stuff?
So like Call of Duty? So like what?
Every Assassin's Creed game?
Right.
Since
every Forza game?
3?
Every Gran Turismo game? Every what?
Yeah.
Pick a game.
Battlefield.
There's that 3-tier system. 70, 110, 130 now.
Well, and then the thing that I was hearing was like, well, they're mad about it. And I was like, well, if it's a season pass, it should be in the game. And it's like,
no, be mad.
Not how game development works. Okay. Now, the counterpoint to this argument is, I have no problem with this because this has existed for a long time. If you have the money, cool. If you don't pay for it.
It's
pretty fucking simple.
Right.
Or fucking, if it's so outrageous, okay, wait a year.
Yeah, my problem with battle passes has never been that they cost money. My problem with battle passes is when they introduce a pay-to-win mechanic.
Well, sure, and this doesn't have a battle pass. It has a season pass for a single-player game. So presumably, there's DLC in the works.
Sure, and it's a single-player game, now, so if it's pay-to-win, so can be it.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but then the other thing people are complaining about was like, well, what if, and I can understand why people are saying this because it is a rare instance of this. Baldur's Gate 3 already went back on their season pass. Like, yeah, we're not doing it. All's in Wizards of the Coast Court. We don't actually own the IP. Good luck, everybody.
Right.
That is definitely an irritating thing, especially considering they just clean swept at the BAFTAs this week. They won no less than 5 awards there in all categories. And even though I am playing the game weekly with my wife, it's our co-op game, and having a good time when the game functions. I again, am still not seeing this beacon of light, god tier, greatest game of fucking 2023 that I'm playing. I'm going to see parts of it that are certainly at that quality, but there's a lot that's not. And as someone who did spring for the Ultimate Deluxe Gold, whatever the fuck it was, on the Xbox Store version of Baldur's Gate 3, because I was like, well,
I'm going to play it for a while, right?
We had a good feeling that even if I didn't like it, this would be something that my wife would like.
Sure.
And everybody and their fucking mother was like, the game's so fucking good. And I was like, okay, well, fine.
Yeah, again, this is how it was with Destiny for a long time.
But now I have paid extra money for I don't know.
Right.
Which is odd to me. So yeah, I don't know what the legality
the one thing you paid extra for has been removed from the game, basically.
Yeah. And I've already had arguments with friends where people are like, well, it's not a big deal. Like, some other developer will make the DLC. And I'm like, well, but they run on their own game engine. Mm-hmm. You're not just going to hire people off the street to do said DLC. So I don't know what you do in that situation. You know, because it's one thing if, like, say, a game's announced and it's like, okay, we have this and we have a season pass, and they're like, hey, by the way, we didn't sell enough and our studio's going under, we're going out of business, bye.
Right.
Like, that's a whole other scenario. It's like, oh, well, tough titties, that's the breaks, you know. But it's like, okay, this game is a Star Wars game. Mm-hmm. From Ubisoft. They will make good on their season pass.
Sure.
Like, that's just what's going to happen. You know, and then that brought into another conversation of, like, well, like, why is it, like, so expensive and stuff? And I was like, it's so expensive because we know from the Insomniac leaks that if Disney, for their allowing their properties to be licensed out, they charge 50%.
Right. And
this is a game that, by all accounts, has been in development for like 5 years over at Ubisoft. Mm-hmm. You know, it behooves them to be like, yeah, we know, like, only like 10%ers and 1%ers are going to get the Golden Ultimate Edition, but by God, we're going to get their fucking money. Mm-hmm. You know, like, this is fucking business. You know, and it doesn't hurt anybody on the low end. Like, the only real people who are pissed about this are pissed that it's 70. And it's like, well, guess what? Games are 70 now.
Right. Be glad they're not more.
The other thing about that, and I read this.
Those are the same people that didn't realize that, some Nintendo cartridges from back in the day were 70.
75.
Right. No patches. No DLC.
Looking at you, StarCraft, mm-hmm. N64.
Yeah. And that was not adjusted for inflation.
Yeah, no, I'm God.
The fact that we're still at that $60 to $70 mark in today's era.
What's interesting is I read another article this week from, it's like a CEO or CFO or something of the Embracer Group. Mm-hmm. You know, the group that had fucking Borderlands developer Gearbox and
for a
ton
name
of
like
stuff,
Embracer,
like
they don't hold on to anything
and all kinds of stuff and all this sort of stuff. And he said that $70 games in this industry is unsustainable. And he said he wouldn't be surprised at all if things went back to 60. Now, here is
my one argument for people that bitch about games still being $60 versus back in the day when you don't adjust for inflation. We also don't have the distribution channel back then that we do now. You had to have a console to buy the game. Only so many people had the console. Now it's phone, PC, multiple consoles. You have much more customers to sell to at the same price.
So, my argument against what he said is, I think things will get more expensive because, as someone who deals with a lot of material products in his own business, things are not going to go back to pre-COVID prices.
No.
They just aren't.
No. Labor costs are going up. Material costs are going up.
Two reasons. Labor costs, material costs are going up. Shipping problems still. And then number 3, if you're any sane corporation and it's like, well, we're getting away with our business by increased profits on this, why would we ever go back to lower?
Right.
You know?
What do you mean be altruistic?
Yeah, you could argue, like, okay, yeah, it probably could. Maybe.
Yeah, do
Why?
Do I really need that 17th yacht? No, you don't. But I can buy that 17th yacht. Yes, yes, you can. I'll take the yacht. Well, and I get why people would be mad at that, but they have the money. Again, they're not going to turn down the 17th yacht. I wish they would let their employees have that 17th yacht.
Well, and another thing that I get mad about is, and maybe this is a viewpoint that's come up on me as I've gotten older, you know, you'd pay hundreds of dollars to, you know, fly, hotel, get into Disneyland, and then more money to spend 8.5 minutes on Star Wars Rise of the Resistance.
Sure. And then
for an amazing, totally amazing thing, you'd spend hundreds of dollars. You know, maybe $1,000 if you live, you know, East Coast or something. Just to have that kind of experience. And generally, most video games offer you an experience that you can continue to experience forever.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, like it's pennies on the dollar for the type of value proposition that you're doing. The fact that we have games at all that are successful, like AFK Journey and Honkai Star Rail, those are only successful and huge because it's a quality product and because a portion of their player base is footing the bill. Because there's not in-game ads, there's not, you know, Tide Pod commercials in between each battle of AFK Journey, and there could be. I've played plenty of fucking cell phone games or PC games where it's like, blah, 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 cool, this game's amazing. And then literal 30-second, like, obnoxious YouTube ad for fucking that stupid snow survival game. Right. That you and
I would actually be more okay with ads if it wasn't the same one every goddamn time.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
Right.
Like, you'd think things like YouTube could manage to do it, but they don't. It's the same thing as it always has been. You pay for time placement, or probably geolocation placement, or some algorithm says, "Hey, let's feed this customer this type."
Speaking of geolocation, this is one of my favorite things that's been happening a lot with YouTube and even like Amazon and who. I said the magic word.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, no, you're right. I did. You know, and all the other streaming services. Apparently, because I live in Southern California, I will get an ad for something, Expedia or whatever, and then as soon as that ad is over, I'll get the same ad again in Spanish. Exact same ad.
I get that once in a while.
Right. And I think that's I'm in Southern California.
I get that once in a while, and it's gotta be Google and Amazon, and they listen to me talking with my wife and her Hispanicness.
Right.
Because there's no fucking way it would come up otherwise. I don't speak other languages.
You don't live in an area that is diverse enough for that.
Not specifically where I live.
Yeah.
Like, I could go a couple miles and be in said diverse areas, but, like, I don't know. It's whatever.
Anyway, that was a side tangent.
Games. So then, to wrap this up, like I said, I did complete Final Fantasy VII Remake. on my replay through, which was a lot longer slog than I had intended it to be. Given that I played on New Game Plus, on Easy, all my characters were over leveled. I was basically going from point A to point B, absolutely stomping on pretty much everything except for the last handful of bosses. But just because I wanted to, refresh my memory of everything,
right?
Because as I've gotten older, doing replays of the first game, if there's a sequel, especially ones that have heavy story, Horizon, Spider-Man, I feel that they ultimately make my sequel experience that much richer.
It's watching Dune 1 right before you go to see Dune 2.
Well, and then the other bonus too for remake was I played it on PS4 originally, paid for the stupid PS5 upgrade, and it at least came with an expansion. There's like a mid game. There's like an 8-hour mid game so it goes Final Fantasy VII Remake. Then let me see if I can get this correctly. Final Fantasy VII Remake intergrade lowercase inter higher case grade mission.
Okay. The Midgard mid game?
Yeah, Midgard mid game. And then it goes Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So Remake was great. It continues to be great. It's a little less great in some areas with my nostalgia lens taken off years later. Because I'm pretty sure when the game first came out, I was like, oh my god, this is fucking perfect and everything's fucking great. I have fucking no complaints and everything's fucking amazing. And I'm just so fucking happy to be playing Final Fantasy VII again, since 1997, In retrospect, with the nostalgia goggles off, there is some shit in this game upon replay where I'm just like, what the fuck is this even here for? Like, no, for real. Like, why? Like, this thing is here to pad the fucking gameplay time and or prevent you from getting from point A to point B. Like, there is some stupid jank-ass shit in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm looking at you, stupid fucking pipe flow timing ass minigame. I'm looking at just some really dumb basic bitch arbitrary fetch quests. Like, oh, I need you to find my 9 cats. It's like, like, why is this shit here? It doesn't need to be here. It's dumb. It was maybe enticing the first time around because, this is definitely one of those type of video game worlds that I love being in and visiting and stuff, to pad that time out. And I think even on my replay is still like 48 hours or something like that, even with, I did a handful of the side missions and stuff because I had all the equipment, I had all the things. There's a couple of things where I was like, I'd look on the achievement list and I was like, oh, I'm one away from getting an achievement. I can meander my way over to figuring out whatever the fuck it is to get said thing that I was so close to getting the first time. And then obviously the because it is an upgrade from the original version I played, there's better lighting and the frame rate's better and that sort of stuff. Though that wasn't particularly a problem with that game because it looked absolutely fucking incredible and still looks fucking absolutely incredible for that matter. Like there's lighting in this Unreal Engine 4 game that I still look at other games and it's just like, why can't the lighting be as good as this fucking game? It's ridiculous. Yeah, so it's a good time. And then Wednesday, I was able to start Intergrade mission, which I'm about halfway through now, because I looked up how long it was, and then also how many chapters it was. It's a 3-chapter deal. It's really interesting in that it has a really playful tone. And it's introducing a character that already exists in the original series, Yuffie. long before she was there in the original story. And so there's a bunch of cool stuff with her, and she's like infiltrating the streets of Midgard, and she's part of this other faction of people called Wutaians, who had a war with Midgard prior to events of Final Fantasy VII, and so they're like the events of Final Fantasy VII. Basically, they make up a story that it's all the Wutaians' fault, and we're going to go to war again with them, even though they had fucking nothing to do with it. They're like a poster child bad guy, basically. And it's interesting going back through some stuff from Yuffie's perspective, just because she's such a super fucking like anime bubbly character set against the super fucking grimdark thing of Midgard, so it's like a cool, playful tone. And again, not that the music was ever in doubt for this, but for this little spin-off DLC, the music is so fucking good. Like, I was running into this like dumb factory place thing, and there's just this dude on the saxophone going like fucking ham, and I'm like, yo. Like I like stopped and I'm like listening to the music, and I was like, this man is going to town in this jazzy score, and it's fucking awesome. So it's cool stuff, and I like that. They could have made her gameplay really pedestrian, but even the way she moves through the world, they gave her like a bunch of ninja moves, and she can wall run and slide and throw her fucking giant ninja star thing into things and stuff. Yeah, there's a significant amount of parkour in this game, and it's just cool. It just adds to the flavor of it. I am thinking though, and I'm not done with it yet, I am thinking though, as fun as this is and how cool it is to have like an extra episode and more stuff in the world, I'm thinking I'm probably going to reach the end credits, and I'm going to ultimately conclude it's a completely unnecessary journey.
Fair.
Now, I might be wrong, and maybe in context it's unnecessary, and then when I get to Rebirth, it'll be like, oh yeah, no, there was stuff in there that was totally needed to have this one-off for. But
sure, I almost look at it like some of these side stories in the Star Wars universe now. It's like, do we really need them? No.
Sure.
Are they enhancing the story? Yeah. So.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I can say about it is odd going straight from remake to this, because even though the graphics are really good, you can totally tell that this is handled by the B team, because like everything in remake generally, like lip syncing, like stupid, you wouldn't spend the time of day like cutscenes with like a shop vendor and stuff like that. Great lip sync, all that sort of stuff. Versus this, like the main cutscenes are really good, super polished, of the same quality. But then other stuff, like interstitial stuff, it's like, yeah, they hit the button in the Unreal Engine where it just syncs to the voice track poorly. Okay,
pre-render, yeah,
I see. And that does kind of suck, but so it goes. All right, spin the ring. Get the fuck out of here.
We still got 3 other topics, and we're an hour and a half in.
We're fine.
Tell that to my bladder.
Oh, water.
Tech.
Entertainment.
Entertainment?
Nope.
Entertainment, yes. Entertainment. Mm-hmm. The other big topic. The other meatball.
Yeah, the other meatball, that's for sure.
All right. Scrolling up.
Here's the thing. Here is the thing.
There we go.
Okay. I forgot I posted this.
Joyce. Isekia.
Iseki. Yeah. Saving you. Thank me later.
Okay, sorry. I'm dyslexic, okay? I had that IA and the AI. The AI didn't fix my eye.
I'm only saying it because my wife corrected me, okay?
It's fine. Isekai.
Yeah. So, the word isekai is now in the Oxford Dictionary of English. Ta-da! For those who don't know, basically, isekai is a Japanese term that somehow translates to meaning a character awakens in another world. And it's generally referred to as a genre. So if someone would call something an isekai, that would be a genre of like, okay, somebody got transported to another world.
Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I was about to say Narnia. I was saying Narnia would be technically an isekai.
Never-ending Story.
I never saw that.
Don't.
Feel free to chastise me. Don't see it.
No.
Does it never end?
No, it ends. It wrecked my childhood. It would still wreck my adulthood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Real
Some real bummer shit in there. Some Land Before Time
X-Men
bummer shit.
97 episode 5, huh?
No. Some like Land Before Time bullshit.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. X-Men 97, huh? They're fucking red wedding the fuck out of that thing, huh?
Yeah. So Fork Fam, full spoilers for X-Men 97.
People dying.
The revival animated series of the X-Men 90s show, streaming now on Disney Plus.
I haven't spoiled anything yet. I'm just saying, people die.
You've said people died, which is kind of a spoiler because people don't really die in that show to begin with. Yeah. So episode 5 took some huge fucking swings.
Mm-hmm.
And continues to prove that it sucked, especially for me. So I flipped on that show. I had a shit Wednesday, and I'm like, oh, I want to watch something that will make me happy. Wife, let's put on X-Men 97, and I'm just like,
I was calmly sitting on my front porch, having a couple of beers, trying to get ready to go to bed and relax, and I ended up having to rewatch it the other day because apparently after that episode, I continued to drink.
oh, okay.
Promptly forgot about the ending, and I was like, and then I saw people's comments, or your comment, and another person's comment, and I'm like, I remember shitty things happening, and now I'm drawing a blank.
Well, probably drinking so much you forget the ending of a fucking 35-minute cartoon. Probably not good, Nate.
No, it's not good what they did to me. I blame the show.
But anyway, spoiler Band-Aid off here. So
side note, have you haven't noticed that I've been changing my in server based on episodes?
What does it say? Lost to time right now?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be honest, I only notice that sometimes. It's not something I particularly pay attention to.
Every episode.
So if you've been doing that just to tickle me,
I've done it for every single episode.
It's gone unnoticed as fuck.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
Listen, my weeks have been weird for many, many weeks now. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
So X-Men 97 has been a wondrous tour de force that does more in 30 minutes than most whole seasons of a TV show or a really good movie ever hope to fucking accomplish. Mm-hmm. And they've been doing it with aplomb, perfectly fucking written lines, amazing fucking animation, art, voice, acting, directing, like the whole 9 yards. This fucking thing from stem to stern, so far, is an episode by episode masterpiece.
Right, I
can't even fathom how this quality was attained because it's so unusual the only thing I could possibly compare it to, and this will rile a lot of fans specifically of this era, is that it's Batman the Animated Series level.
Okay.
Like X-Men, the original 90s run of X-Men, 5 seasons. We all know the last 2 seasons went way the fuck down on quality because of showrunner changes, writing changes, and I think they changed art studios and went like way cheaper. But regardless, that series is regarded as generally, at least in the same sentence as Batman the Animated Series. And I'm a huge Batman fan. I won't slavishly say, every fucking episode of Batman the Animated Series is fucking perfect. But at that time, in that era, like that, it set the bar so fucking ridiculously high. And shows after it rarely ever even got close to that level of just, wow, the writing's really good, the cast is great, like everything is firing on all cylinders, and for this show to not only return with some of the staff, some of the writers, and some of the surviving actors, but then be better than, I'm not even going to say 90% of content, better than all other content out right now on TV, is just mind-boggling.
There is something about X-Men 97 that harkens me back to something that I think I've missed in television in general. It does what I lovingly call the monster of the week, and still carries an overarching storyline throughout each episode. And it does that, like the word you use, aplomb. Like, that's why I've been enjoying it, because I can watch one episode and it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, and not only that, when I look at it from like a writing perspective, like the only thing that jumps to mind in terms of like every fucking line, like when I think of it as like an actual like put on my professional writer's hat, and it's like, okay, you do a line, you massage it, you work on it, you reduce things, you try to get to the point of the communication.
Right. It's called distilling.
And like I'm thinking of like the scene in episode 5 with Magneto, and they're asking him to be the fucking leader of Genosha, and then they're like, oh, we have a fucking problem with you being, a terrorist elected as a leader. And then he's like, yet
you allow
so
your
many
leaders
people
to become terrorists.
To be terrorists. And I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What a line.
And
you don't have to say fucking anything else. You don't have to have a back and forth.
Right.
2 fucking lines? Are you kidding me?
And he was the only person that could have responded with that. There was no other character in the series that could have said that.
It's fucking bonkers. But like that's just it. It's not just one line. It's every fucking line. Like again, same fucking episode, the thing with Scott Summers, and he's getting interviewed by the fucking news crew, and he like loses his shit on live television, which is fucking amazing.
And I love how everyone else in the other room is like, well then.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, because he says something like, the news lady starts questioning him, and in the context of the show, again, full spoilers ripping off here, he had a baby, Nathan, who then got sent to the future, but she actually had it with a clone, Jean Grey, who may have been a clone for a lot longer in the original series than anybody would have fucking thought.
And what's her name now? What is she going by?
Madeline Pryor.
Yes,
because it's a comic book thing.
Yeah.
And so this news lady is like, oh, you're married to Jean Grey, and but the medical birth record said you had a son. Like, where's your son?
Right. I have no son.
And then he's like, I don't have a son. And it's just like, and he's like, oh, well, why are you lying to me? And then Cyclops like it would be a moment where any other scene, if it wasn't Cyclops who has lasers he's holding back behind his eyes, would take his glasses off and sigh. But instead he basically like looks down and is just like, this is the problem with you people.
You ungrateful motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, holy shit. The things we have to lie about to keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, holy shit.
And he's not wrong.
It's not wrong at fucking all. It's fucking wild. And then contrast this with this crazy shit going on at Genosha, and like Rogue's fucking maybe leaving Gambit for Magneto,
but not,
which is a crazy
storyline.
Yeah, and then like Magneto wants her to be his queen as he leads people into a new era, and it's just like, man, I can see like everybody's a little bit right.
Mm-hmm.
and that's what makes it really fucking compelling to watch, because like the only other kind of like artful dance with dialogue that I've seen like this that I can think of in recent memory is Westworld.
Sure.
Like this kind of like, the crew that's writing this show fully 100% understands
perspective.
Not just the character, the perspectives, what they're each going through,
their histories.
Like, it's such a
right.
It's
a lot of the characters that we have in X-Men, in comic and in TV show, like the history matters, and the history makes those lines hit. Again, Magneto could have been the only one to deliver that line, right? Scott Summers could have been the only one to have that tirade.
Yeah.
Right? Jubilee and what's his name? The Mr. Solar Arms. Sunspot. Right. They're the only two that could really have that relationship.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
It is artful. And
its use of time floors me. Like,
I think, I honestly think part of that is that they didn't have to, like in Westworld and every other show that we watch now, Peripheral, etc., they've had to build the characters.
Sure.
They did not do that at all. They said, you either know X-Men or you don't. If you don't, not our problem.
I mean, the name of the show is fucking X-Men 97.
Right.
Like, if you don't know it, that's fucking on you. But honestly, even for me, and like I said, I'm rewatching the original series to make to see what I've missed. But they're, I think I just finished season 1 of the original run. But even then, like, I still feel like they're doing an immaculate job of like gentle reminders, and even subliminal reminders with the fucking intro and them having callbacks.
Well, and let's go back to the olden days of cartoons, right? So even the original X-Men series relied on your comic book knowledge to a certain extent. Not
really. Having rewatched the first season of X-Men, like within the first like 6 or 7 episodes, first 6-7 episodes is reasonably exposition heavy.
Okay, but
in a 20-minute cartoon way, where it's like mutants are bad, people are protesting, robots, sentinels. It's like, okay,
but the characters themselves is, unlike it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, like the whole first season was, here are the characters, here's the backstory, end of season. Okay, now we're going to actually have a show.
Sure, versus X-Men, there was pre-existing lore for everybody, because of comics, because of the show being so largely based on that specific 90s era of comics as well, as almost a parallel.
So going back, I appreciate the fact that the new showrunners said, "Look, if you don't know, go back. There is tomes you can go to. We're not going to waste. We're not going to waste. Yeah, we're not going to waste any time.
90s seasons, so like 27 episodes or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, we're not going to waste any time this season giving you any backstory. If you don't know, go find it. We're getting right to the nuts and bolts, and I love it. Like,
I think even regardless of that, their use of time, like I watched that episode and I felt like I watched like a 2.5 hour season finale of some other show. And for the showrunner of the show to have gone on Twitter later and said, by the way, episode 5, we're just warming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, dude, you can't be out here doing some of the best shit I've ever fucking seen and then say, hey, these first 5 episodes just a preamble.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? But yeah, no, shit goes down and something happens at Genosha with like a weird mutant master mold with some kind of laser that can fucking instantly kill mutants, and like pretty much everybody fucking dies.
Yeah.
That was on that island in that story. Magneto dies. Gambit dies, saving Rogue.
Right, like Gambit, I can say sure. Did Magneto die? You think he died?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Right, that's a nobody problem.
But here's the thing: as incredibly crazy and as devastating as that episode was, especially for me to watch, because like so far tonally we've been like, oh, we're perfectly hitting the right tone, and then just like a gunshot, suddenly we've gone like full Red Wedding, Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are getting bloody, people are dying,
people are like getting lucky that they can be bamped out of there.
Yeah.
Again, bringing Nightcrawler back in, just like that. Like,
sure, yeah, absolutely. I could use some more of that just because I'm a Nightcrawler fan.
Sure.
But man, like I said, I sat down to that episode and I was like, yeah, I've had a shit Wednesday. I need something to cheer me up. And at the end of the episode, I like took my glasses off and I like cried. And like just because like that was fucked up.
Yeah.
She's like, I am not okay. What just happened? And it's so funny too, because at the same time as it being amazing stuff for everybody out there who has been like on the fence, and you know, there's a lot of shit leading up to this show of like, oh, you know, they woke it up and all of this fucking shit. And it's like, if anything, this show is the PG-13 version of what we grew up with. Literally. You know, they took the really real concept of, hey, you were a young adult or a teen or a child with these shows. You are an adult now because it's been 25 years since the old show. We know it. You're here to see a show called X-Men 97, the next chapter. We know you're older. Here we are delivering. You know? It's fucking crazy. It's just fucking crazy, and it's so good. And there's no fucking way I think another show coming out this year is going to top this show. I just don't think it's possible.
Okay.
I don't think it's possible. Like, season 5 of Westworld would have to somehow secretly come out this fall.
Season 3 of Peripheral would have to come out.
You know? Which would be amazing, since we never got season 2.
Or season 2, yeah, sorry.
Although we may still have hope in that regard. I guess we'll say, speaking of that, and speaking of Jonathan Nolan things, Jonathan Nolan...
You're trying to do segues and you just fumbled right through
it. I know. Shut up. It's just us. Yeah. Jonathan Nolan, who's been doing a lot of interviews because of the Fallout TV show, which just hit this week, which I can now talk about because I saw the first episode today.
It's 7. I'm almost done with it.
You're almost done with it. Okay,
I binged.
No spoilers for you, mister.
Okay.
Jonathan Nolan has gone on record stating that him and his wife have every intention of quote unquote finishing the Westworld story they set out to do, as well as finishing the peripheral story. What that means, especially since they're not really talking to Warner Brothers anymore, don't know.
Warner Brothers isn't talking to anyone these days.
They're talking to Apple because they just greenlit 3 new MonsterVerse shows and season 2 of Monarch: Legacy of Monsters for Apple TV, which I am super pleased about because the show is great.
The universe is great. Yeah,
I like it. I love the new universe. I definitely wanted a season 2 of the show, but even with that love, I have no fucking idea what on the fuck hell 3 other spin-off TV shows could possibly fucking be about.
Could we get a giant Wolfman and actually have like a real life like redo, the right redo of Rampage?
I never watched that movie on principle, but I know what you're talking about. But like, yeah. So, yeah, we have a little bit of potential hope for Westworld and Peripheral to finish their stories somehow. We don't know. I assume they're working on stuff.
Here's my only problem with a lot of what's going on now, and like I fully think expect him to finish these stories. The problem is casting the actors. Like everyone's getting older.
For Westworld, for sure.
Right?
Peripheral, I feel like they maybe have some latitude, given that Chloe Grace Moretz is still a youngin'.
Moretz.
What did I say?
Mortens.
Mortens?
Kick-Ass. Yeah, Kick-Ass Girl. Yes.
No, it's Hit Girl. God, get it right. Jeez.
Girl.
You're shitting me on fucking names.
No, she was the girl that was in Kick-Ass.
Fictional name.
Hit Girl.
Okay.
Anywho.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they have a little more leeway with that. But yeah, I mean, the Westworld cast is getting older.
Sure.
You can't really sit on this too long, otherwise you're either going to have to CG the fuck out of people, which, while that's getting better, isn't quite there yet, or recast entirely, which, no, because part of the joy of the characters is...
I mean, my ideal season 5, other than going back to the park and finishing the story, would just have at least one more episode somehow of Anthony Hopkins before he dies.
Right.
Because that role, Jesus.
Yeah.
Again, like X-Men 97, like every fucking line he said in that show was fucking perfect. Yeah, it's crazy. So there's that. There's Fallout.
What did you think of the first episode, since you can talk about this?
So
I never played the games.
So I played 1 through 3. I never played 4, strangely. 3 is my favorite by far. Not just because it's 3D and because I'm a little biased because Todd Howard showed me how to play the game at PAX himself. But because 3 is like tonally, like that is perfect Fallout in my mind.
Yeah,
and I just never got around to
personally, having never played the game, I don't feel so like I have enough passing knowledge of it to understand the show.
Sure.
Right? I'm sure there's some Easter eggs in there that I'm missing, not having played the games. I've heard
100%.
Yeah, I've heard just the sound
within the
design.
First frame.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the sound design.
Well, the blips and bleeps and bloops and shit like that are, you know, kind of like what they did with Halo, where they were pulling sounds directly from the game, kind of thing. I've heard that's been good. I wouldn't know.
I mean, my thing is, I like Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan. I am not a Halo level fan of Fallout, or I would have played Fallout 4 when it came out an eon ago.
The show is making me want to play the game now.
So it's funny when we finish the episode. So Jessica didn't play the Fallout games, and is aware of Fallout, and her, when she looks in her head, it's like Fallout is kind of like a post-apocalyptic BioShock.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of like what sits in her head, which is not a terrible or off the mark thing to call Fallout at all. So for me, I think the show is quality, but I also just think it's fine. Like I don't feel, and there's definitely a lot of nods, especially for me, who's particularly a fan of 3. Like the guy on the horse is a main NPC in 3. And there's other little things and stuff too. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Or there's a thing on the newscast of like, nobody knows where the president is before the nukes hit. Mm-hmm. Spoilers. The fucking show is called Fallout. It's about a nuclear apocalypse. Surprise.
Right.
Happens in the first fucking 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah. Where do you think
the
president would be?
Yeah. Yeah, but that particular line was like, oh, I remember that mission. Mm-hmm. I know where he is. I know what happens.
Oh yeah, and a lot of things get explained, I will say.
So, yeah. So I know from what non-spoiler has been told to me by Brock, who is a super fan of Fallout, and finished the show already, that his complaints are that it's a really good representation, but not perfect. He had complained about some story thing that they changed from Fallout New Vegas that's canon, and they did a lot of hoopla to hype up that this show is canon because it just takes place like, in another state, because like kind of Fallout, each game takes place in a new state.
Right.
Fallout 3 takes place in DC.
This one is mostly California. Yeah, this one's in California. We haven't been there yet in the Fallout universe. Closest would be New Vegas, since it takes place in Vegas. He complained that they changed a big storyline thing in New Vegas that he was pissed about. And then his other complaint was also that there's no Ron Perlman. And you might be wondering, why would we bring up Ron Perlman in regards to Fallout? And I actually lost an argument with him on this, even though I played Fallout 1 and 2, is that famous actor... Hellboy, yeah.
Hellboy and Beast, among other things. He was the fucking narrator of all of the Fallout games. All of them. Mm-hmm. And he thought it was just fucking weird that there couldn't have been some cameo or like a voiceover or like season finale end credit narration with Ron Perlman, because it's like, well, he's in all of them. Why would he, a screen actor, not at least have something in this series? But anyway, I digress.
Sure.
I have not seen the rest of the show. I think it's interesting.
I'm one episode away. I fell asleep mid through 8. So.
How many did we get?
8.
Oh. Well, if you fell asleep midway through 8, you have half an episode left.
Yes, but I I fell asleep. So I have not.
You're like my wife. You got to restart, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I don't think
it's entertaining.
Like I think it's well made. Mm-hmm. Like I don't see, at least yet, I don't see.
It's a lot of people is pretty good.
A lot of people say that it's like Last of Us quality of stuff. Like I think it's a different thing. It's a different thing because it's allegedly canon, but like adjacent, like in universe. which I think is overall smart for a TV show to be in, so that it doesn't step on shit or fuck up shit.
And
like
it can take liberties
like the Halo
without.
show.
Yeah, it can take liberties without pissing off the fanboys.
Exactly. Which is a different proposition than The Last of Us TV show, which is a adaptation of the storyline that
Right.
A very faithful one. I mean, it definitely does do its own modifications, but it is very faithful. Sometimes verbatim.
And then there's Twisted Metal, which was nothing like the video game.
Sure, which is just a fantastic fucking show,
right?
And it's so good. I don't care.
Right. And then it's going to turn into the video game, so it's all good.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the thing you're afraid of. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. So, Marvel stuff. We know John Bernthal back as the Punisher. Daredevil board again. Good. And then curious casting. This had a lot of people up in arms. Mostly people who don't know anything about the fucking comics and are just running their mouth. Or who didn't watch the 90s cartoon of Silver...
Yeah.
The 90s cartoon of fucking Silver Surfer, which, by the way, was very good. Even though I only got half of one season. But Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot has cast actress Julie Garner as Silver Surfer. Specifically, she's playing the Shala Ball incarnation of Silver Surfer, who I will just straight up say, because it happens in the first episode of the fucking cartoon you could see on Disney Plus 2. So for those who don't know, Silver Surfer is like this cosmic entity that's granted this like silver skin of immortality and like powers and shit.
It's almost Green Lantern-esque.
From
esque. You're selected to be, right?
Yeah, but you're not selected by like.
Yeah, but there is not
the
one
universe. You're selected by a fucking bad guy.
Yeah, but there is not one surfer. There is not one lantern. It's
Well, but there is one surfer, though. Like that's the thing. There is one because Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus, the World Eater.
Yes.
And he sends them forward to be like, hey, by the way, scope out planets I want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, I'll kill you and kill everyone you love or whatever the fuck.
Right. And then make another surfer.
Yeah, because I don't give a fuck because I'm a god. And so anyway, Shala Ball, who's being played by Julie Garner, who, if you don't know, God, I can't think of her character's name, but she was in Ozark. Mm-hmm. She was, she's Ruth Langford in Ozark.
She's very, like, translucent.
Yeah, because she's British. in real life. She's British as fuck.
Yeah.
Even though she's known for her southern, I don't know shit about fuck.
Right.
It's literally like her line in Ozark. She's an awesome character in Ozark, which is another great show. But she's playing a female Silver Surfer, and people are like, oh, whatever. But again, I bring that up because in the first fucking episode of Silver Surfer, she was the Herald Galactus. Mm-hmm. She fucked up and then died to Galactus to then introduce Norrin Radd, who's kind of the main male Silver Surfer that everybody knows and loves. And that's what the fucking show's about. So I'm like, oh, cool. So they're doing that. Smart.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's an interesting choice to cast as a Silver Surfer because she's a petite little lady.
That also kind of clues you in on how far back they're going with this reboot for Fantastic Four, timeline-wise. Sure,
and like everybody suspects, it's probably going to be time period placed in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. We shall see. I don't have a problem with it, mostly because she's an amazing actress. And it also won't matter because presumably she'll die.
Mm-hmm. And she'll be easy on the eyes while she does so.
I mean, she's okay looking. I wouldn't say she's anything to write home about, personally, but I think she's a great actress.
Three Body Problem. Have you seen it?
Yeah, we talked about it already. I've seen the whole show.
Okay. What did you think? Now that I've seen
I'll tell you the same thing that I told you last podcast, Forgetful Nate, that it's an amazing series, and the last 2 episodes are lackluster as fuck.
Okay.
I hope it gets greenlit so that they can continue to adapt the books that I have not read. In retrospect, I have since learned... You've seen the whole series, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all the main characters, they're one character in the book series.
Gotcha. They Shawshank Redemptioned it.
And I was like, oh, that's a pretty fucking huge narrative change.
You think?
If you ask me.
Yeah.
You split the main character, all 4 books take place across with or something, so I'm told, into like 9 characters at different points in time in like history. Okay, sure. That's a thing you done did. So, you up on Star Trek Discovery there?
I am not. I have not watched any of it.
Okay. It's, if you like Star Trek Discovery, it's more Star Trek Discovery. As they go into their final season, they're definitely setting things up for finale time stuff. I'm a little at odds with the music this season, if I'm being totally honest. It's the same composer.
Do you think they'll crash Discovery into Picard sequel? Kind of thing?
Can't.
Well, they can do it.
When was the last season of Discovery you saw?
I've seen bits and pieces of the first.
Oh, okay. So then you have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, spoiler for fucking season 2. So, season 1 and 2 Discovery, prequel. Season 2, they go beyond Picard by 1,000 years.
Okay.
And they stay there. Because the Federation is no more. And they have to rebuild it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is a pretty fucking cool storyline, if I do say so myself.
All right.
Yeah. So, the cool thing Discovery does, besides finally fucking getting out of the fucking past by literally going to the future and staying there, is you get to see how the Star Trek universe evolved 1,000 years post Picard, which is super fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they have like really cool shit. Like everybody like just transporters everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like you go to the bathroom, they just fucking transport there. The nacelles aren't attached anymore because some story reasons that we can't get into. They like float beside them.
They're pod racers now.
And
gotcha.
Like, kind of, but there's an in-universe reason for it, stemming from the fact that the civilizations have lost warp 10 years or 10,000 years into the future. And I'm like, oh, which, as you know, Discovery's one-trick pony of the mycelial drive, being able to go anywhere at any time, makes them in quite a unique position in the future.
Right.
Oh, and Earth's gone and the Federation is gone. And they're like, oh shit. This is some same universe, different rules kind of Voyager vibes.
Right.
For the final seasons. So that's what I'll say. But I guess all I can really say then is the music is a little odd this season in that it's the same composer who's been doing it the whole time, who's done a very good job, but it's like too adventurous and like movie
cinematic, yeah.
Which is like, it's always been good and cinematic, but it's like it's almost like he's trying to emulate the J.J. Abrams, Michael Giacchino Star Trek score, which has like a really awesome like vibrance, racency, and I think the scores are actually phenomenal for those films. But it's really odd because it's like Discovery already has its own style of music, and I'm like, why are we trying to do this with the music this season randomly? Like, who the fuck complained? Because now I'm kind of at odds with it matching what's on screen now.
Like,
so
not complaining about the music, it's just not
like, it's good music. Yeah. It's not fitting for me for what I'm watching. It's like a little too energetic, and I'm just like, fucking chill the fuck out, orchestra. This is episode 1. What are we doing? like kind of thing. Like, what is happening? But yeah, no. So I would say so far the final season of Star Trek Discovery, they're only getting 5 seasons, which is fine. Is off to a good start. They're doing a kind of like season-long mystery MacGuffin hunt thing that very interestingly ties all the way back to a Next Gen episode, which is definitely not something I had on my bingo card when I started the final season. And I'm just like, hold up, that picture they just threw on the fucking their version of the Ready Room is a straight up fucking shot of a Next Gen episode. What? So, yeah. So you didn't really get that much into Discovery, huh?
No.
Did it not vibe with you?
It's the series is like I was a original series wonk.
Sure.
Because I'm
so
old.
Yeah, I'm sure the first season maybe rubbed you the wrong way, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Or at least what you watched of it.
Yeah. TNG was great. Deep Space Nine started to lose me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Voyager lost me.
Oh, that sucks, because Voyager is excellent.
Right.
Okay.
Enterprise fell on its face.
Enterprise gets good.
But yeah, like it fell on its face and didn't finish. So it was just like I just stopped.
It finished.
Okay. And then, Strange New Worlds. I like this cast.
Okay.
Picard. I enjoyed that storytelling because again, my fondness for
Sure.
TNG.
Obvious.
But yeah, I started watching Discovery because everyone I know raves about it. But well, they either rave about it or they absolutely fucking hate it. I'm in neither of those camps.
So, because I know what they're trying to do with Discovery and have always tried to do.
Sure.
They tried to make a Star Trek show that appealed to old Trek people while also taking like the jazzy, big live action J.J. Abrams movie vibes.
So Strange New Worlds. Cool.
And yeah, but not quite hitting either mark until about mid-season 2. And
gotcha.
Because there's definitely some stuff like season 1's about the Klingon First Contact War, and the Klingons look totally fucking different than they look canonically.
Because why?
And then season 2, they're like, yeah, that was a bad call. Retcon.
Yeah, because you're not even like they look different. They were Egyptian in nature with the whole.
They were doing it. They were doing a thing.
They did a thing.
And, basically, what you need to know is the showrunner of that show had a very particular idea, and then he left due to creative differences mid-season 1.
Oh, good.
And then they actually added episodes.
I hope they DJ Jazzy Jeffed him out the front door.
It's more complicated and messy than that. Like, I think there's a lot of good things that he did, but he was definitely there's just some things that he was changing just because he felt like fucking changing them.
There's just some things the showrunner. Well, I say this now coming from the original series where the Klingons look completely different. But at least that was a makeup thing, and their stories stayed the same.
Yeah. What I would say is I would give it a go through season 2 of Discovery, and if it's not your vibe,
My wife has kind of picked it up off and on. It's like she loves everything Star Trek.
Yeah, it changes like quote unquote Star Trek genres like 4 times between season 1 and 2. And that is definitely a problem until they fucking finally figured out where they needed to be, which was the future, and stay there.
Gotcha.
Because so for example, like season 1, Klingon First Contact War, danced around all the canon things, even though they made a lot of visual things look totally fucking different and unfamiliar. Season 2 introduced a ton of stuff, including the Enterprise and Strange New Worlds, Spock and Pike. Like, they were set up for Strange New Worlds in season 2. So that part will most definitely jive with you. Because basically, I mean, if you saw the first episode of Discovery, basically the crux of the whole Discovery is they don't have their captain because it was murdered. And
it was murdered.
They survive a season without a proper captain. And then season 2, Starfleet Command was like, that's fucked up. We're sending you Pike. And then Pike is captain of Discovery for season 2. And Pike is exactly the fucking Pike that we know and love from Strange New Worlds. Good. And in fact, his whole thing with his whole brush with fucking the future and knowing his death starts in Discovery.
Okay.
And then a plot reason, and they got to go to the future to, save the universe. And so they do, and they're stuck there. And then that's seasons 3 and 4 and 5. In a post-Federation collapse, Earth's destroyed.
No warp.
No warp, kind of more Wild West, and like planets have closed themselves off.
As you would. Yeah.
And because they're so far into the future, also still recognizing the fact that Vulcan gets fucked up in the J.J. Abrams movies with our Spock, that Vulcans are gone, and like just wipe the slate clean, start again with the cast and crew that you've hopefully grown to love, and go from there. And it's cool. It's cool because they do a lot of really, really neat new things that I think is like, for me,
maybe one day I will get to it.
As for me, like the thing that excites some of the parts that excited me in Picard was like, oh, cool, we get to see what happens next in this universe. And then we never fucking ever get to go fucking past fucking Picard because the buck fucking stops there, just like it stops there for fucking Kirk for some fucking reason, which pisses me off because I'm just like, guys, we don't need to stay in the fucking past in a show about the fucking future. Like it's always been a point that it's particularly driven me crazy in Star Trek. So the thing, like I said, the thing that I love about Discovery is that it eventually does get to the future, literally. And you get to see all the things, and you get to find out all the things. Sometimes they're like casual things, be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 this thing. And you're like, wait, what happened to such and so race that I remember? And like, like they have like really cool shit. So like they have this really neat thing in modern Star Trek Discovery called programmable matter. So they'll have like a piece of dust or something, and they can like, with holographic shit that like beams out of their comm badge, and they can like reprogram it into a phaser and shit. It's like, that's fucking cool as shit to me. Like, I love shit like that. Let's go. But
you can't make warp drives. You can turn a grain of sand into a yeah.
Well, the mystery of that season is because anytime someone does, they explode before they can finish building them.
But we can transport to the potty.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Speaking of which.
Sure. Oh, at spin? Yeah. Nope. Earth. Technology.
Okay, cool. Perfect. And we'll finish on live. All right. Cut out or no?
No, just keep everything rolling.
Okay, I'll be
back. We'll
back.
just be silent to cause a huge break. All right.
So
technology. I only got one thing here. So, ready to talk about realms, Nate?
Sure.
So, in a research paper published a little over a month ago by Apple concerning generative AI models, they have revealed that they have a artificial intelligence system named Realm, which is short for Reference Resolution as Language Modeling, that aims to radically change how voice assistants understand and respond to comments.
Good.
So basically, what it's going to do, as I understand it, is when you are using your voice assistant on an Apple product, it can understand everything that is on your screen, from the text input to what you're looking at on the screen, image, whatever it is. It can apparently understand it to a degree that not only matches, but apparently beats the current capabilities of OpenAI ChatGPT 4. Which is incredibly impressive, considering nobody fucking has seen this shit apart from Apple. I don't doubt it for a second, and I've been saying this for a while now. Like if Apple wants to jump into this AI race, as we've been talking about for well over fucking 2 years now.
More so recently with the advancements in it, but yeah.
Agreed. As it's going more and more mainstream.
Which also brings me to a bugger that I have with tech lately, but yeah.
Yeah.
Everything being, the AI laptop, the AI OS, the AI this, the AI that, and it's like, no, this isn't.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, we're not even close. What you're doing is
we're in I can't say that.
Carpathia?
Nope. Compartmentalized.
Yes, I'm Vigo of
functional
compartmentalizing
singular AIs that are functioning as a group.
Right.
Not unlike Halo's in-lore AIs, the non-smart ones, or actually the AIs in Horizon Zero Dawn. But yeah, everybody's been saying for a while now, and I've been saying for a while now, we know pretty much for a fact that Apple is unveiling their AI stuff at Worldwide Developers Conference on June 10th. And by all of the leaks and rumors based on patents they have, as well as all their research papers and what each individual AI firm that they've bought up over the last decade specifically specialized, we are looking to get a new macOS and iOS that will radically transform a lot, but not all, a lot of key things. I think it's gonna sounds dumb saying this, but I have no shame in saying it. I think we're finally going to get a Siri that doesn't suck.
Right.
If they even choose to continue with that name. I think we're going to get some fun, but not like universally breaking like new ground stuff. Like I think we're going to be able to, based on links, we're going to be able to animate GIFs from a single image that were not previously a GIF. So basically some frame generation stuff.
Sure.
From about 30 seconds. We're going to get some stuff in video editing that's AI related. And we're going to get stuff in the device interpreting stuff that you as a human do or say or show it in a way that is a hell of a lot more fucking natural than even right now, where we're voice dictating or typing in text with some guardrails or limitations to the way you write the text so that the generative model understands what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a whole thing now with prompts,
I think that's going to be the lead.
Yeah, prompt manipulation that if you're good at it.
I've been using prompts for years now. And I do believe the technology is super fucking cool. And I agree that OpenAI's ChatGPT 4 is a huge leap in doing away with the promptingness of it so that you can write in a general language way what you want. But I think the breakthrough between text and you being able to show it something and then it has some idea of understanding what it is you're saying or looking at will be a big breakthrough. And then, of course, the other breakthrough, which I think we already talked about a couple episodes that Apple had talked about, they already had a patent on being able to do a large language model on a device that doesn't have a fucking server rack, NVIDIA GTX 36.
Yeah, I mean, even NVIDIA is kind of going that route with a system on chip AI.
Yeah, they're going that way hard.
Yeah,
which is fine. You know, like I said, I think it would be silly of people to underestimate how much Apple has invested in this technology already, since we've had some form of machine learning on device.
Sure. I just got an update to this thing that now has, I can now apply AI to my text messages to change the tone.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Right, and image editing, circle to remove, circle to search, like all sorts of little new doodads that are in here now.
Sure.
It's like,
I think the difference, though, and we know this because of the way Google rolls, is that that's all server backend AI stuff.
Right. But yeah, if you can take that off the grid and have it just be done on device, would be amazing.
And we know how hard fucking core Apple is about doing things on device. I mean, you can actually look at it another way. They were very hardcore about doing graphics on device in chip, and they're like, oh, you'll never get fucking 3080 performance. Well, they had 3080 performance in the high-end version of the M1 series.
Right.
And now they've got
so
ray
quickly
tracing
getting
and shit,
to
and
a
it's
point,
like, holy Jesus.
Like what you said with the on-the-fly, manipulation of video, turning an image into a GIF. When is reality no longer reality?
Oh, God.
Right?
Well, I already talked about this a couple episodes ago, being screwed over by fucking Godzilla X Kong New Empire and thinking that fucking Mothra merges with Kong into some flying fucking kaiju thing.
Right.
Which doesn't happen in the movie at all, by the way, folks. But I believed it because I'm already looking at CGI characters, and when I can't tell a frame generated from the fucking movie by artists and AI, I mean, we're gonna. I've said it before. We're all AI broken records for 2 years now, Nate, and it's just gonna keep going.
But again, it's like the whole thing, like even smaller scale. I take a picture of a group, right, and it takes 15 frames and then says, okay, find the eyes that are all looking at the camera at the same time. So I captured a moment
all of our cameras have been doing that for a decade.
I captured a moment in time that isn't actually reality.
Well, when it splits up like that, yes.
Right.
But we already know that there's a difference in interpretation of what happens. Google's gone way more heavy-handed with, we can just stitch them all together.
Right.
Versus, I think on like Microsoft and Apple's end, it's like, we can choose the one where most of the people are looking at the camera.
But we're going to get to a point where, well, we already, from these 15 frames, can just turn your face through the camera.
I saw, actually, just this week, I'm glad this article is reminding me of more things that I read in tech, but I guess I think of them as small. I just saw that all the Google photo editing stuff that's been on your device for a year or so now, we're getting that in the Google Photos app on iOS, like next week or some shit. I was like, I don't like the Google Photos app because I think it sucks for doing the actual job of organizing photos. But I will open it up and give it a whirl on some of these things that are super cool. Sure. But it'll be the same thing for me as how I'll use ChatGPT 4 on Microsoft's end.
Right.
Whatever the fuck they're calling it this month. Copilot, not Cortana.
Bing.
Microsoft with GPT-4, whatever the fuck. Jesus Christ. But the amount of time Microsoft changes names is like probably equal to the amount of times Google kills products. Like I read actually just on Twitter, just while we were on a bio break, that they're killing their VPN service. And my first question was like, Google had a VPN service? Like I don't get how, like I get they have billions and billions and billions of dollars, so it's nothing to stop little things like that. But maybe it's the business owner in me, maybe it's the Apple zealotry in me, but it's like at least Apple, like when they do something, they like try it for a long period of time until it doesn't work. Like Ping. Showing my age. Remember that? Remember that? That was the thing? They tried for fucking 2.5 years. They crammed that shit in every fucking thing. And it may have been good, it just didn't work. Like, it was a fucking piece of shit. It was like, it doesn't do even what you're promoting. Like, that's not Apple. And even later, Steve Jobs was like, yeah, it was a piece of shit. So yeah. So I think it's gonna be very interesting. And then I saw another leak already that said that the Apple M4 chips that aren't even announced yet, I guess they're the dominant chip component on the die now will be the AI or the machine learning module, like over the CPU in terms of what's occupying the die size now.
Right.
And I'm like, I believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, the gist is, right, like we're already at 3 nanometer. TSMC says we're going to go down to 1.5 nanometer, which was thought theoretically impossible by people like John Carmack 10 years ago due to the laws of physics. But okay, they somehow shaved 0.5 nanometer and still made electricity.
I've heard some rumblings on that being it's a misnomer, but they're using it because it's we're getting the theoretical output of the physical 2 nanometer process, but it's not actually 2 nanometer because physical impossibilities exist. I've heard there's some shenanigans at foot there.
Because I've heard both things, even just in the TSMC chip making. I hear cat shit happening.
She's going after a hair tie. Like it's the end of the fucking world.
Like it's a live mouse or something? That's dumb. But it goes back to TSMC has said both things before in the past. Like, what was it not too long ago? There was like 7 or 6 nanometer or something, but 6 nanometer wasn't really 6 nanometer. It was like 5 nanometer enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a more efficient version or something like that.
Right.
The things that I am hearing is that the 1.5 is in fact
physical.
Like it will be a real leap, not unlike the 5 to 3 jump that we had. And I'm like, I don't know how that works because everybody under the sun has been saying science.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe they had their TSMC had their AI figure it out. I don't know. That's the other thing. Why were we talking about that? Oh, because
chips. M4s.
Yeah, and it's been leaked that the M4 chips are going to have way more space dedicated to
an AI coprocessor.
What they've been calling their bionic engines for the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not surprising in the least, but it also makes sense in the fact that, well, heat-wise, we know that the only way to make the chips cooler is to make them smaller. But by making them smaller, we get more efficiency, but also make them hotter.
Mm-hmm.
We get up into these kind of catch-22 situations, and we know that, Intel, Apple, everybody, even ARM, there is a limit on gigahertz on how fast these things can run without just adding more cores on top of more cores on top of more cores on top of more cores, which is how they do it in the server space, because they can cool that shit. Is okay, we have to go the other direction. Why do you think NVIDIA pivoted so hard into GPUs and ARM stuff? Because they know that that's the space that can accelerate in a different direction. Mm-hmm. And the same thing for these machine learning, AI engine cores, whatever you want to call it. Like, those are the things that will accelerate in another direction, same as GPUs.
Whereas AIs are now, these AI cores are considered the coprocessor.
Mm-hmm.
They're soon going to be the processor, and the only reason we're going to have these legacy cores is for compatibility.
Yep. It's the same reason, and I've been saying this since I found out about the M series, it's the same reason why, everybody wonders why the fucking Apple Silicon can still run x86 stuff so well, and it's like, well, surprise, because one of the cores flips into fucking x86 mode and actually runs x86 code, and then co-translates it to ARM in real time, because it's speaking the language.
Right.
Which, by the way, I heard actually on a podcast, now that I think about it, this week. I think it was actually Marcus Brownlee, that Microsoft is doing the same exact fucking thing with their custom Snapdragon chips. And I guess there's an event coming out next month or something.
Oh, yeah, with the new Surfaces?
Yeah, with the new Surfaces.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, that's going to get a lot better. And I was like, well, I wonder where you guys got that idea. Surprise. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a fucking genius idea.
Sure.
And obviously it was an oddball to do in the first place, since no one's ever really heard of a chip that speaks fundamentally two different operating set languages, apart from an FPG, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, field programmable array, folks. Or FGPA, I guess would be the full title.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad.
What you see in a lot of Raspberry Pis. And
yeah. All that means, folks, is it's a processor that you can tell it to be different things, and then it does it. A lot of servers use them. In fact, I think Google exclusively runs on those, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot of handheld game emulators use them as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And actually, not only just the handheld game emulators, but the God, what's that brand? They have one for like every fucking system now, where they recreated the chips. No. Beltron?
Okay.
Like, you can buy a set that's like a Super NES, and they programmed all the chips to, down to the chip level, replicate the exact functions of the Super NES, and the same for the Genesis and all that stuff. And they have one for the Game Boy and all that sort of stuff, so that you can play your original cartridge, and it will play exactly as it did. Because for all intents and purposes, it is exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I find amazing.
Oh, it's awesome. I love that shit. And if I had the money and the time, I would dig into more of that stuff, because I love the idea of emulation. Yeah. I love the idea of game preservation.
And like currently, emulation's the only way to really feasibly do it, but to get it down to the hardware level like that.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing, because, like, I suppose if you think about it, what could mayhaps happen, not that it will, but just as an idea out there, we could have a future where there's some processor that does run ARM, does run x86, does run what's that other one that's been trying to get off a RISC-V?
Yes.
That runs all of the languages and runs them natively at whatever gazillion speed. And then it's like, okay, well, it's up to the developer. Whichever one they like to do or can optimize for, this chip can do it. Or whatever. I don't know.
Imagine putting that in console.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, it would be...
we can run your code natively.
It would be fantastic, except for the fact that, with video games specifically, you would have to account for the oddballs. You'd have to account for the N64. You'd have to account for the PlayStation 3. You'd have to account for these chips that were designed for this thing and fucking nothing else. Or like
but if you could pop in your disk or whatever at the header of your download when you launch it, it programs your FPGAs.
Oh, yeah. If you go, okay, at launch, configure system to this.
Right.
Make these such and so improvements.
Right.
Yeah. I suppose it could happen. Who's to say? We might look back on this in yet another decade, and we might be all on non-Intel or not ARM or not Apple, or we could be on something totally else. It's hard to say, especially with
the Apple Vision
plastic silicon that's still being worked on, even though it's not really silicon, but it's plastic that can transmit electricity. So we'll see. All right, spin in, and let's get
into life. Life's the only one.
Oh yeah, I don't have to spin it. Did I put anything in here?
We haven't posted a lot in the Life channel.
No, I was mad about a donut.
Total solar eclipse donut.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme donut. It looked good. That's pretty much why I posted it. I was like, well, I can't have wheat, and I like Krispy Kreme, and that donut looks fucking sexy, and I want to put it in my mouth.
Nothing about that looks good to me at all. That looks like just a sugar headache waiting to happen.
Okay, well, fine. You don't have to have it. It's fine, because it only lasted a weekend anyway.
Yes, like the eclipse hype and
which I missed.
Rapture
and sleep.
Yeah, me too. I
tried to watch a bunch of YouTube videos, but I was like, it all suck.
You can still watch them, but yeah, like
I can.
We were in the the 40 to 50% range where we were. It's like, oh, okay, it got a little orange out.
Well, I guess speaking of missing things, well, so what has been happening for the past many weeks, and many forks of me staying up after this show's recorded, editing it, and then playing with Nate, won't happen this week because
Tim doesn't love me anymore. Yes.
No. Don't you lie to them. No, because that shit got canceled / postponed for the next 2 weeks at least.
Okay.
While they figure out shit. I won't go into details, but let's just say people other than everybody who's currently on this project are involved fucked us, and now some people didn't do their job in 2015, and now things have to get completely re-engineered, but with the product that we have to hand, so that a part of a building doesn't fall down and kill people. No, I won't actually kill people. I'm exaggerating, but it's a ludicrous thing. I'll send you some photos after we end, and I'll be like, "Hey Nate, can you tell me what's wrong with this picture? I bet you can figure it out." But it's real bad.
Yeah,
and
so you're kind of in that holding pattern that I was for a while, where it's like, are we doing nights? Are we not doing nights?
I'm so mad about it.
Yeah,
and the whole time I'm thinking like, Nate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So no, I have a totally different thing. I got a pre-site for one of my clients at like 6:30 in the morning on Monday. I'm like,
well, that's good. I'm sure they'll be happy to see you again, because they haven't for a hot minute.
No, they have, just not on Monday or Tuesdays.
Ah, gotcha.
But in the meantime, talking about life, I have been doing not good. So, found out the news Friday. I was like, okay, cool. Well, I get to have a little bit more me time on the weekend, and I get to like sleep. Guess what my body didn't do last night, Nate?
Sleep.
It's like about like 11:30, 12:30. I was like, yeah, I'm like, maybe watch some YouTube and chill out. I totally didn't, and I ended up playing Sea of Thieves. Oh, that's the other thing I meant to talk about in games. I did get Sea of Thieves on the PlayStation, which feels totally sacrilegious. But can confirm, as is a surprise to nobody, because it's an Unreal Engine 4 game, and it's a game that's been out for fucking almost 7 years. Yeah. Plays fine. I mean, it did crash a couple times, but it's in the closed beta before it launches on the 30th. A little strangely, when you ADS, it sticks until you hit the ADS again. I'm sure that's a bug. But other than that, yeah, it's these on the PlayStation, and it looks and performs pretty much identical to the Series X, which is not fucking surprising in the slightest.
Right.
Yep. It was a strange experience. Like, it was like because I did it last night and got it, and it's roughly the same file size and all that jazz. And then you log in, and then of course you have to link your Microsoft and Xbox account to your PlayStation. And I was like, well, that's a new one. It's pretty painless. They did a QR code thing. You sign in with your phone and blah, 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 blah. And all the stuff on the Sea of Thieves and my account were there. Bing, bada, boom. Didn't even do a loading. Nice. I mean, it's a server-based game anyway, so that's not surprising in the slightest. Yep. So I did that till like 2:30, and I was like, fuck, I should go to sleep. And then that didn't happen, and then I was up till 3:30, and I was like, fuck, I should really at least try to go to sleep. And then I like went to bed, and I was super fucking wired, and I was like, my body hates me.
That's how I'm 7 episodes into Fallout.
That makes sense.
Right.
So I played Honkai Star Rail in bed for like 3 more hours. That's why I'm so confident of how long the battery lasts. Okay. Right. Oh, God. I hate flip-flopping between nights and days.
Yeah.
It's brutal. I'm too old for this shit. And I know you're laughing about it now because you're like, you fucker.
Stroking my gray beard here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of night shift,
Grandpa,
I'm down to
get your cane.
I'm down to my last month.
Oh. You know, given the recent hell that I've been going through, I am genuinely happy for you.
Right. I'm going to promptly take probably a week off because I am going to be flush with vacation hours.
Good. Do it and take it and then just be dead for a week, reset, chill, see your family. You know?
Let's see, that'll be, and then I might be, for future Fork episode, I might be in your area at the end of next month.
You have to tell me when, because I got a wedding at the end of next month.
Well, screw you then. It'll probably
Not
be
my
when you're
fault.
gone.
It's local, the wedding.
25, 26? 24 to 27, I think, maybe? Or 23 to 27?
Well, 25, I'm at a wedding.
Okay.
My sister-in-law is finally getting married to baby daddy.
Okay.
So, that's a thing. And, segueing, speaking of the baby daddy, guess who set up a really weird, not too terribly weird, I like totally get it, but it was super out of the blue. He like called me this week, and I was like, what's like up, my guy? And he was just like, so like, I have a drinking problem and I need help. I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, I don't want to fucking do these fucking people. I don't want to fucking do a sponsor. And I know you've like fucking been through it and all this shit. And like I just need help. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you no. Soon to be, I guess, brother-in-law. I don't know. How does that work? If he's marrying my sister-in-law, does that make him my brother-in-law?
That makes him your brother-in-law, yeah.
Yeah. So soon to be my brother-in-law, which is fine because he's basically been that way for, you know, however long he's been my sister-in-law. Anyway, I don't know. I've complained about it on the show before, but he like I said, he's a super nice guy. He just needs some executive direction.
Sure.
So now I'm kind of thinking, and I'm actually supposed to do something with him tomorrow, actually. Check in with him, see how he's doing and stuff. So, because we had like a 3-hour talk or something on like Tuesday. After my night job and 2 hours of sleep. But that's fine. And so what I'm thinking is I will simultaneously use this opportunity to, like, I don't know, do more family things with the guy who's definitely becoming part of the family. More, even though, you know,
right. I mean, you two have that same thing. Like same thing with my brother-in-law is like you married the sisters.
Yeah, and that's actually something I told him on Tuesday. You know, I was like, well, you know, like you and I are like the one thing we have in common is that we are the outsiders in this family unit. You know, you come from exterior, I come from exterior. You know, but I've been thinking about this all week, since I talked to him, that I'm going to use this to try to spin it into a way that I can also help myself. And what I mean by that is I'm presently, unfortunately, going to physical therapy at least once a week for some back shit, that fucking vertebrae and muscles that don't want to behave. And just, you know, due to general fatigue and stuff. And so I'm thinking and hoping, I'll probably know more tomorrow, is, you know, he's local, he lives like really close by. And it's like, well, why don't we like combo up and I help him with like the drinking thing. and then he can help me with like staying more regular with like fucking exercise.
Sure.
And stuff. And it's like, well, because then that's something that we could maybe do together, and we like meet up at a park, talk, do stuff,
just walk,
be active.
Yeah,
exactly,
right,
exactly. And I'm thinking that would be the way. I think that would be very good for us both.
That actually sounds like a very good idea. Yeah, anything.
Yep.
Anything. So, it's almost you're almost taking on that sponsor role. Why does it look like you were drinking out of a bottle of NyQuil?
I don't know. Does it?
God, I called that one, didn't I?
I've been doing it since break, man.
Didn't even notice until you turned it up there, and yeah.
Well, which I guess goes back to the other thing, which I shouldn't be doing, but I need to sleep, and so I just took a bunch of drugs so that I can sleep. It's not a full bottle of NyQuil, so I had finished the little fucking cup thing, and then I poured my little black cherry Zevia in, and so it looked like it was full, but it really wasn't. I was just trying to get the fucking dregs of the bottle.
Dregs of NyQuil out of.
Yeah, because like I'm a little bit of a stickler for like leaving leftover food. In fact, pretty much all of the food I had today was like fucking leftover. I had some leftover ham. I smelled a little funny. It didn't kill me, so I think I'm fine. I cooked the shit out of it in bacon grease. I had some like leftover like eggs and like fucking hash. I tried to reconstitute that, but the eggs are like a week old. That was terrible. I didn't eat that shit. My fucking dinner was fucking leftover, like as a smorgasbord of like broccoli and leftover chicken nuggets and gluten-free mac and cheese and some fucking burnt end pieces of beef they had on Thursday, Wednesday.
Okay, well, not too
Tuesday.
old.
No, not as old as the ham and the fucking egg stuff. The ham was like 2 weeks from actually a family dinner. And then the eggs was a week old.
See, I think that might be my aversion
it's
to.
Too long. It's too long.
My aversion to leftovers was, not growing up affluent. We survived on leftovers. And then being that,
me too.
That Gen X latchkey kid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Got home from school, unlocked the door. I had to feed myself. I had to do everything. I think I might have gotten something out of the fridge that was a leftover that was a leftover. Because, if I don't eat it the first, and it's like, as much as I hate wasting food, I'm not going to touch it. It's going to turn into a science experiment. So I might as well throw it out instead of stinking up the house.
Yeah, that's my logic on some foods.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, I think we were. I was talking to you in DMs right before the show about the month left of this night shift, and unfortunately, my cohort, my co-pilot, because we always have to have two people. It's a safety thing.
Yeah.
And in all the previous runs that I've had, because I've been switching people out every 2 weeks, they were capable of doing some of the testing.
Okay. So
I would watch the pretty blinking lights for half the day, and then we'd swap. So put a little variety in. The coworker I'm getting, I actually had him on the first week just to see kind of how he panned out. We actually triple shifted it because I was like, put him on, triple shift it just so I can see what he can do. Make sure he's okay with that. And he worked out okay. But I know what I'm in for. He's going to be sitting in there. He has health issues. He was actually gone from the company for a year because his body decided to turn on him.
Okay.
And he's just now coming back, but
like the flood virus? Like, what do you mean it turned on him?
Basically, yeah, his organs shut down.
Oh, yeah, no, that'd be a turning.
Yeah, So he recouped. He came back, but he's not in a place where he can stand for an entire shift. Right? He's not, cognitively he's there, but he's not as quick as he should be to be doing some of the work that we do. So he's kind of relegated to more simple tasks, which are, again, necessary. We appreciate what he does, but on the night shift, you either work or you watch. And being that he has very little that he can work at, he's going to be watching.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end up with a long laundry list of shit to do, and it's just going to be it's just physically grueling.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice to have that. Like again, with my previous co-pilots, it's just like we swap out half the day, so I get to sit and at least the last couple hours of my day or 3 hours of my day, I get to sit and watch the pretty lights blink and kind of chill out, play AFK, a fucking journey, all that stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be tough sledding out until May 10th.
Letting out?
Yes, tough sledding out until May 10th. Punctuation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So it goes. Well, if we could work out... So why are you going to be in the neighborhood then?
Because. We need a vacation. Because.
You coming to see the cousins again?
I don't know that my cousin actually still lives up there. I think he might be down here in like Ukaipa.
Okay.
But no, we have the friends that live up. I think we're looking at places closer to where you are.
Okay.
So I don't know. She said something about Kent, and I'm like, I think that's closer to you.
Yeah. Pretty fucking close.
So
not too far from where we were last time.
Yeah. As opposed to being in Seattle. And yeah, it'll be pre-birthday weekend, and then yeah. It actually might even be over my birthday weekend. It might be the 31st to the 2nd. So.
Well, I know for a fact. So,
look on the calendar, see if that's a fork weekend. May, June. It is not a fork weekend.
I have. Well, it's a fork weekend on the wedding day.
Well, bummer.
I guess we'll have to reschedule on that one.
Then it might be a fork weekend. We might have to do. I'll bring the board up. We'll do a live.
I do believe. Unless I'm wrong, I'm probably required to do shit Friday through Sunday on the 25th of May. But if
I'm close
around,
yeah,
if you're close, or if you're not on those days, you should definitely do something.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, somehow, some way, somehow,
somewhere.
Over the rainbow.
Out there beneath. Sorry, you went.
I did.
You went Oz. I went Feifel.
You did Feifel.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the fact that we can recognize both makes me feel old.
With that,
I guess that's the show. Yeah, that's the show. I'm Tim. I'm incredibly tired for reasons for not sleeping when I should be sleeping.
And I'm Nate, who's probably going to be
Nate.
up.
He's got a cat on his fucking head.
On the back of the chair. Who will be up splicing this together and then eventually crawling into bed with his wife.
Fair enough. Until next time, get forked.
Get forked.
Solid. I hadn't stopped recording yet.
Me neither.
Now I have.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamicworks production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival by author Tim K.A. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
What is this caught on? Oh, it's wrapped around it. Why would it do that?
To piss you off, apparently.
I know you're talking. I don't have my thing.
I know.
Hi. Hi? I don't understand. I heard you talking through here, and now I don't hear. Fuck you. What the fuck? Not cool, man. God damn it. Yeah, like, this is too easy. Fucking stupid. Alright, disconnect these drives. Disconnect these drives. Disconnect these drives. Come on.
Waiting for my AFK journey to update.
Is there an update?
There's been a few of them.
Get nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah, indeed.
This one's the PC client, so.
Could be why. Could be why. That's off. Start the Skype it did. Alright, let's see how Audio Hijack 4.4.0 does.
Oh, it had an update?
Mm-hmm.
You sound so thrilled about this.
Well, it's always a roll of dice. I thought about not doing it, and then I'm like, I always think that, and then I do it anyway. So I might as well just do it anyway. So their claim on this one is they've completely remade the audio engine backend. It used to be installed as a kernel.
Oh, okay.
And now it's fully compatible with the OS with no kernel needed for greater compatibility. And I'm like, that sounds better on paper.
Right?
We shall see.
Did you change something on your setup? Did your camera angle, or is it your mic?
It's the camera angle.
Okay.
Usually you're here.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, because you're sitting on the old Acer.
Not that I mind, it was just weird.
Yeah, actually this is pointed down
down
a smidgen.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing the like
you're about there
view.
on the light. Yeah. No, that's fine. Alright, well let's run. Oh, I haven't deleted the last episode's audio hijacks, so let's move those to trash. We're gonna run this, which should be fixed from last time. Running the thing. Please talk.
Checking 1 2 1 2 checky 1 2 1 2 checky 1 2.
Checky 1 2 checky 1 2. Talk again.
Again and again and again.
Okay, cool. I don't hear myself in my ear anymore. That's cool.
Yeah, that is nice.
I don't have to open hear it. All right, let's check the files. Make sure it's recording properly.
You don't like hearing yourself in your ear?
Oh, well, that's not good.
In what way?
So I hear you. You're great. My recording of you, however, is now overblown.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because
that's a new problem.
Yeah, no new settings on my end.
I'm sure. Do I need to...
Boy, that update was girthy.
Do I need to... throw... Let me just do another test here and see. Okay, you talk.
Check 1 2 1 2 check 1 2 1 2.
Okay, I'm listening to yours. Oh god, that's weirdly overblown. Not that I doubt your mystical recording powers, but it bugs me that I don't have a clean record of your Skype like I normally would.
Huh.
And for that matter, why would it be overblown to begin with?
Right. Because I'm not, like, right up on the mic either.
Yeah. Well, let me see what blocks I can throw on this. Maybe I can...
Okay.
Magic boost, don't want that. Don't want balance. Could be EQ. Pan. Compressor, maybe. Let's try doing that.
Compressor.
Mode. We get music, movie, voice, radio. Let's try radio. See if that makes a fucking difference.
Radio.
Alright. You go ahead and talk, sir.
It's 5 a.m. in the morning, and here is your traffic break.
Good lord. Well, it certainly sounds like you're fucking coming out of a radio. Alright. Not that one. Let's do voice. Like, if we were doing a gag, that would have been perfect. Okay, try again, please.
We're no longer on KFYE. radio.
Yeah. Okay. That's better. But now I hear a lot of static. I'm just like, wow, I'm so perplexed. God damn it. Okay, so voice is better. Okay, maybe we can add more things. Dehum? Denoise? Yeah, let's add a denoiser. Why not?
Denoise? 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 Denoise. 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 But then you won't hear me at all because all I am is noise.
Okay. So this works through machine learning. So I'm going to give you a hand signal and I'm going to mute my mic. And then you talk for about 30 seconds. Okay?
Okay. I'm getting the thumbs up from Tim, and this is where I start my monologue for 30 seconds, and I have no idea what to say because I don't vamp very well. But yeah, AFK Journey, it's a wonderful thing. And hopefully that's enough data for the machine to learn what I am doing with my voice. Oh, you want me to speed it up a little bit? Oh, no.
That was like 15 seconds, and he started stopping, and I was like, no, keep talking. Okay, so let's see how that is.
Jesus, cat.
This was that you?
Fun. What?
I just heard like a big old like fucking ship foghorn.
Wasn't me.
Okay, it must have been actually outside of this house, which doesn't make sense since I'm not near water at the moment. I don't know how to fix this. It's not the end of the world. I believe in your recording.
Which has been recorded.
Yeah, but I don't know. Do not know. So I guess we'll roll with this, and it'll be what it'll be. Yeah. Okay. Audio hijack is audio hijacking.
As you hear whatever street race that was going on outside my house.
Oh, I didn't hear it at all.
Oh, that's good.
Actually, that's fine. Skype has been Skyping. Things are going. Oh, I like that actually. Just have that little bar on the bottom now. Oh, I like that a lot. That's nice. Okay. Subtle UI changes that are helpful.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got the Discord. Everything's up. Everything's rolling.
The Discord, the DAT cord.
Yep.
Flux capacitor is flexing.
All right, shall we?
And here we go.
In 3, 2,
1. Cut in.
That fucking sucked.
Well, there'll definitely be a good mark on the recording.